Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Sunday, December 8th, the day we usually take off, that we don't broadcast, but there are things happening, drones being seen, even reports of a drone coming down over the east coast of the United States. Yes, it's a mess, and usually as our government is going, they have their hands up in the air. They have no idea what's going on. If they did, they're not telling us. It just shows we have a breakthrough technology that is able to go ahead and move unimpeded over the skies. And there's some people covering it out there, but not a lot of live coverage. So welcome to the special Sunday edition of Disclosure Tonight. Before I get things started, where did I put the chat? There it is. Let me go ahead and welcome the participants we have in the back. Let's start up those drums and have some fun. All right, let's go ahead and take a look who we have out there in the chat. It's a small chat at this point, but I'm sure it'll build. Let's welcome in Christine Lynn, Digger Dogs here, along with Donald Harris. Eli McGinnis is around. Matt Ramon just popped up, along with J-Cat and Eli McGinnis. Neil Carr's here, and Robert Kofor just popped in, along with Robert Gibbs. We got Snarf McGrew. Welcome, Snarf. You're new, my friend. Super Unknown just popped in, along with the Mind of Martian. Martin. It's one of those days. Yes, I have not had enough coffee, but I've taken some Adderall, so this should be a fun show for everybody. Let's have some fun. Tim Tracy just popped in from Arkansas. We got Jason Crossland saying hi. Brian Pemble saying Sunday is back. We've got Tony D saying hello and thank you, Thomas. Thank you very much. Richard Manish is here. Angel7 just popped in the chat. We have Alexander Ely is around. Who else do we have out there? We got Yergis here. Good to see you. We've got good old J-Cat welcoming everybody. Jason Crossland popped in. Good to see you, Jason. Tim Tracy's here. Good to see a lot of new people in the chat. It's a great way to communicate, hang out and have fun in the chat. Remember, the cost of chat is absolutely free. If you haven't subscribed yet, you like this, do us a favor, friends. Give us a subscribe and a like. It helps us share this broadcast with more people on YouTube and keeps the wave going, my friends. We have join my at Lockett. Good to see you, my friend. Cave Rats here. Cindy Filehauler is new. Welcome, my friend. A lot of new people in the chat. I love it. Jake, Speedwheat 67, you're new. Welcome, my friend. All right, we also have Larry Sandell and a whole bunch of other people. On that note, we got a small number of people in the back today, but you know what? It's that time of the night, friends, for us to go ahead and welcome in our friends in the back. Let's go ahead and take a look at who we have there. Would you look at that? Coming to us from the city that never sleeps, so from all the way in Bangkok, Thailand, let's welcome our dear friend, Corporal Abe. How's it going, Abe? You're muted, my friend.
Good morning, everybody. It's early here. Had a long night, but I'm happy to be here. Excited for the news.
Yeah, same here as well. Thank you very much. It's just one of those days we have to stop and cover what's going on. Brian Pemble from the Desert Southwest just popped in the back. How's it going, Brian?
Hey, it's going great, Thomas. Can't wait to hear the show.
Oh, yeah, there are tons of stories going on. And yes, last night, it looks like in one of the stories we're covering, there is a downed drone out there somewhere, and people are still looking for it. There were multiple helicopters trying to track these things down, so it's an evolving situation that we want to make sure we can go ahead and cover here today. Also in the back, we have Ms. Cussout. How's it going, Ms. Cussout?
It's going great, Thomas. I'm glad you're keeping up on top of this insanity that's happening.
Yeah.
We're all curious. Really, all of us are real curious what's going on, you know?
Yeah, that's why I've spent the morning going ahead and collecting the latest news and information for us to go ahead and share with our audience out there. There's a lot of new people out there. It's wonderful to see. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, give us a subscribe. It's free. Give you twice your money back guarantee. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our dear friend coming from the state of Oregon. At least they used to be until I found out Neil Carr was there. How's it going, Neil?
Holding down the state of boredom. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to getting up to the minute news on this topic here.
Yeah, same here, my friend. It's interesting to say the least. This has been going on for, almost since December 18th. We've been covering this here on Disclosure Tonight. So, yeah, it's been going on a while, Neil.
Yep.
Let's put our sights on the East Coast, and let's welcome in our dear friend, Tia Loreno. How's it going, Tia?
Hey, Thomas. I'm happy that there's a show today. What is it about?
We're covering the drones and the drone situation that's right in your backyard, Tia. Oh,
yes,
close
sir.
to it, at
Thank
least.
you.
Awesome. Great to have you here. On that note, let's jump into our first story of the night as we can. Coming to us from our friends over at Fox News, they have an interesting covering talking about the New York drone sightings. State officials accused of knowing more than they know. At least, hey, the news is trying to come up here and cover this. On that note, let me jump into the full screen on here and play this for our audience. Here we go, everybody. Here's our first story here of the day.
Mysterious drone sightings now in 12 New Jersey counties, and it's still unclear where they're coming from. Meanwhile, Governor Phil Murphy responds for the first time in a X post saying, quote, "There is no known threat to the public at this time." Do other state Jersey officials agree? Well, here with reaction is New Jersey gubernatorial candidate and 101.5 talk radio host Bill Spadea. Bill, it's so great to have you on this morning. So no one has a better pulse on New Jersey than you and talk radio. So what are your listeners saying to you,
well,
and what do you think about this?
Thanks, Rachel. We've got the largest audience in the state, and I have to say that I've got to give credit to my friend Mark Taylor, who is the mayor of Florham Park in Morris County, because back on the 16th, 17th, 18th of November, a few weeks ago, he called the show and he said, "Bill, there are drones over my house." And last night there was a Black Hawk helicopter that was sitting in front of them. He said, "I have no idea what's going on, but I've called the FAA. I'm calling the state police." And here we are weeks later, and it's increasing. They're everywhere. And, according to reports, and I literally have done my entire show in the last week and a half has been on this drone issue, because callers from all over the state are calling in to say some of these drones are the size of cars. And what it occurred to me that when the state police and the FBI are asking for our help, how do they not know what's happening? So a lot of people believe that state officials may, in fact, know a lot more than they're telling us.
Well, yeah, and by the way, I'm one of those people. I saw it outside of my house twice. My kids recorded it. They were freaking out. They are big, and they fly kind of low. And it's really disconcerting that our governor can't tell us what's going on, that, and then they said, call the sheriff, and then the sheriff says, call the FBI, and then the FBI is saying, give us more information. And remember, Bill, we had a balloon that flew, a Chinese balloon that flew over our country, and not only did our government lie about it, but they did nothing about it. So do you think that these are foreign, that this is a foreign country? Is this Google, with their drone package testing something? What is it?
I think if it was something as simple as Google or Amazon, something like that, it would have been very easy to put out a statement, say, hey guys, don't mind the drones, we're not under attack. What really bothered many people, certainly in my audience, is when we called out the governor earlier this week, he did not make a statement until after thousands of our listeners flooded the State House with calls saying, Governor, what is going on? What did you know? When did you know it? Why are you not saying anything? It's strange to me, though, if you think about the size of these drones, it's not like they can stay airborne forever. They've got to land somewhere. Chances are they're landing somewhere locally. Why is it only happening at night? Why is it happening on and around our military bases, both the Joint Base in Monmouth, Picatinny Arsenal in North Jersey? So there are a lot of questions, and it leads many of us to believe that they do know. But I think the simplest explanation is that this is some kind of a military test. I just wish they would come out and say, here's what we're doing. And I have said, when I'm elected governor, we're not going to have this secrecy coming from the State House. We're going to have total transparency, because it's clear someone knows what's happening. We just aren't being told.
Well, Bill, they're also flying over Trump Bedminster, which has a lot of people concerned as well. And I agree, we need more transparency. We ought to know what's flying over our house. By the way, there was a guy in Florida who once shot down a drone. He didn't know it was illegal to do so. He got in a lot of trouble. So people feel like this is right over my house. It was right in front of my window. I know I don't own the airspace, but it's disconcerting when it's so close to your home and your children, and we ought to get answers. Bill, thank you so much for joining us this morning. If there are any updates, you got to let us know. We want to get to the bottom of this story.
I will certainly let you know. We'll be on this starting tomorrow again.
Thank you, Bill. Take care.
The Pentagon shedding some light on potential.
Interesting situation, to say the least. The situation with the drones is continuing. We have, good questions being brought up. Who is it? What's going on? Why are they here? Why does our government not talk about what's happening? They're acknowledging it, but reluctantly. Neil, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, this is really interesting, and it's really interesting how it's developing. And I kind of want to err on the innocent side of maybe it is some announced practice run of like, hey, this is our new delivery system for Amazon or something like that. But it almost seems like, how can they do that without somebody coming forward and saying, this is what's going on, So it's a real head scratcher.
All right, thanks, Mike. Yep, just got a call from our law representatives on the East Coast regarding this situation. Neil, sorry about that. The phone rang. I had to pick this one up. It's an interesting situation, like you're saying. The biggest concerns we all have is this has been going on for weeks on end. The FBI is asking questions. The FAA can't answer questions. Now, our military, if I can find my ball around here somewhere, has the ability to track an object. Let me get up to a close here for a second. Our military has the ability to go ahead and track an object from the surface of the planet or surface of the water all the way out to beyond the moon, from an object this size or bigger. Now, we are talking about objects that are greater than, if you want to call it, greater than the size of a small SUV. So these things are big. They look like planes, but they're not planes because they have the ability to get up there and do very tight turns, and they're only going maybe 50 miles an hour at the most at this time. So it's just a real interesting situation that reminds me, I've got a feed from Reddit I need to be able to bring up here in a second because there's a lot of good things going on Reddit as well that I want to go ahead and cover today. If we can, let's jump into our next story here, literally talking about failing the test, the mystery drone sightings, credit to national security failures. Basically means that our government does not have the ability to go ahead and bring these things down. They're making excuses for what's going on, why it could be happening, and it's just one of those situations that begs for further explanation. Welcome in, Harold. How you doing? Good to see you.
Thanks for Thomas. Harold, how you doing? Surprise show. I had to pop in for it.
Absolutely. We've got an echo coming back in your audio, my friend. Thanks. All right, let's go ahead and get to that next story coming up. Is this the right one? No, national security failings. Let me bring this one up. Here we go, folks. Let's jump into our next story.
The Pentagon shedding some light on potential UFO sightings in a classified briefing to Congress after last month's House and Senate hearings.
And authorities are still investigating mysterious drone activity observed several times in northern New Jersey recently, including near President-elect Trump's Bedminster Golf Club.
More than several times. I've seen two outside my window. Tennessee Congressman and House Oversight Committee member Tim Burchett joins us now. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning. This is a little bit personal to me. My entire neighborhood, everybody in the surrounding cities, seems like it's all anybody's talking about because there are so many sightings. We're going to show you the one outside of my house that my kids captured just on Thursday night. But what are your thoughts on this? What's happening, and why don't we have more information? That's over my house. Yeah.
It's one of three things. It's either individuals, it's either the Chinese, or it's our military, or a combination thereof. Honestly, you don't see a lot of that in Tennessee, where I'm from, because everybody's got a 12-gauge shotgun, ma'am. And I suspect we need to open the season up on drones. But it's I've been briefed on military maneuvers where we know that that the Chinese are doing that. And so it's a real problem. I think we need to, and honestly, they don't respect this country right now because of who's in the White House. I mean, you saw the Chinese balloon. It was able to fly over our secret installations. And even in Tennessee, over Oak Ridge, it turned around and went back. We could have dropped it up in the Pacific a long time before it went all the way across the ocean. They dropped it off the coast of Myrtle Beach. So they are actually testing us, I feel like, and we're failing that test. And until Donald Trump gets in the White House, you'll continue to see this. But I would say it will sharply drop when he's.
That doesn't make me feel safe that I have to wait till Donald Trump is in office to find out what's flying over, like literally outside my window. We're not even talking like way over my house.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you've got local laws and regulations, and I would suggest you petition your local folks. But FAA is supposed to control the airspace, and they're failing at their job.
Here's what just so you know, everybody in my neighborhood is calling the police station and the sheriff, and then the sheriff says call the FBI, and nobody gets any answers. Here's what the FAA said. They said safely integrating drones into the national airspace system is a key priority for the FAA. We look into all reports of unauthorized drone operations and investigate when appropriate. What? Like,
Mike, welcome to the show, my friend. I have to bring this up, and I just have to say, what a joke. What's going on here? This is a situation where we've got the FAA. It sounds to me like they're making excuses. What are your thoughts?
They're passing the buck is what they're doing. They reached out to the FAA. The FAA said to speak to the FBI. They have no answers for the public, and they keep switching everything around. It's an old tactic. Yeah. It's a delaying tactic. But you know what I thought was interesting? When Tim Burchett was just speaking, he made a point about China is one of the suspected people behind this, which is something that you and I have been talking about for a while now. But he's kind of confirming that, isn't he, Thomas? That's what I think.
He is, exactly. And he's also saying that, yeah, this stuff is going to come to a stop once President-elect Trump gets into office. It could be that, let's speculate, do you think President Trump may be willing to sign some executive orders to go ahead and bring these craft down? Because it sounds like our federal government, our executive branch, which includes the intelligence communities, includes the FBI, who's going investigating this, as well as the military, are powerless, or they seem timid and afraid, not willing to go ahead and bring these things down when they're violating airspace laws.
They're violating national security. They're violating, like we pointed out on the previous show, they're actually blocking civilian emergency military transport helicopters.
Now, that happened earlier this week when there was an emergency helicopter coming into land at I believe at a hospital in New Jersey, right, Mike?
That's right, Thomas. And it was unable to do so because of these drones or objects. So, yeah, this is interfering now with the safety, air safety, and civilian practices with people trying to conduct emergency services. I hope Trump would sign that executive order. The problem is you can't fire live munitions over a residential area in the continental U.S. because there could be collateral damage. So that makes it tricky. But they could come up with other ways to try to deal with this.
Yeah.
Right now, it seems like nobody on the government is doing anything to try to be proactive about this.
Yeah. Well, if there was some collateral damage in these drones and they did do something to bring them down, sometimes you may have to say, well, public, watch out, watch the skies because we're taking these things down. And here's the thing, when these things are flying around a bunch of areas, it's not like they're just flying specifically over areas where houses. There's a lot of vacant land out there that they're flying over. More importantly, if they're coming into a military base, what a better place to bring it down.
That's true. That's actually a good point. Because there's no residential civilians in harm's way.
Yeah.
The other thing is that these things are the size of SUVs. So if it comes down, it could probably take out a house and everybody in it. It's dangerous, but this needs to be dealt with. It can't be ignored like it's been so far.
Now, they have seen these things coming in from the ocean. It's been reported by several people. If I know where about, you know what, we can, let me see if I can bring up this map again from the other video we just had up at the beginning. Here we go. You can see that overall, it's all over the place. And what they were seeing is these drones were coming in from the water. And if that's the case, what a perfect opportunity to go ahead and try and bring these things down, Mike.
Oh, that would be ideal over the water. That's where you want to bring something like this down. But again, there's no active open shoot orders coming from the executive branch right now. So they can't do anything. The military needs an executive order to be able to conduct military operations.
Yeah.
And they don't have it right now. That's
so
the problem.
that means a country like China could have an unimpeded ability to have domain over in our airspace to keep helicopters from landing at our hospitals, to keep our military bases from putting things in the air and bringing them back down, and doing whatever surveillance. Now, it's not just over areas where there are military bases. They've also been seen over the tri-state area's largest reservoirs.
Right. But you and I talked about this privately. As far as surveillance operations with these objects, if it's a foreign adversary like China, which is a superpower, they don't need to have these drones on the ground to conduct surveillance. They could do it with space-based sensors, satellites. They don't need to have these objects swarming us if they're just simply doing surveillance. The question is, if it's not that, then what is it? They're doing something.
Right.
They're here for a reason. We know that. You and I talked about this at length.
If anything, Mike, they've got one heck of a great psychological operation going on for all the people who live in this area. Plus, really, it's pointing out that the United States does have some severe weaknesses in our ability to defend our shores. Now, they say, oh, there's nothing nefarious going on here. I have two words to say, Mike. Prove it.
Right. No, that's right. Because we also talked about live on the show the other day that they're hovering over the drinking water reservoirs.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a military target, and I'm sure they're not doing surveillance of a reservoir. So then the question is, why are they here, and what are they doing?
Well, they're not surveilling over a reservoir, but it also shows if there was a drone that had some kind of a agent on it, whether biological or chemical or whatever, they could easily take that payload. Because remember, these things are pretty large, or the size of an SUV, and drop that into the water supply. So yeah, there is danger of them going over the water supply. It's a major part of our infrastructure. Now, Baba 200, a longtime supporter of Disclosure Tonight, brings up a good point here. The reason is simple. Let's see if I can click on that. Dominance. And yes, they do have dominance, it seems, of what's going on. And all we're hearing is excuses. Now, let me go ahead and continue the rest of the story. And actually, you know what? We have a couple people with their hands up first before we continue on with the story. Go ahead, Neil, and then we'll get to Corporal Abe.
Yeah, it seems like what we're seeing here is catastrophic disclosure. If the one good thing is that this is pushing the need for disclosure forward, I think. I don't know. What do you think?
I wouldn't go. I would say it's more of catastrophic incompetence is what we're kind of dealing with here. Disclosure maybe, but if this is Chinese or whatever it is, or either way, it shows we have a major weakness in our national security. Corporal Abe retired. You have your hand up, my friend.
I was just thinking, if they're looking at our dams and our power lines and our infrastructure, it reminds me of the targets that are being targeted in Ukraine. They're attacking the infrastructure.
Well, we've also had, if you remember, Abe, we've had plenty of times when we've had Chinese hackers coming and hitting and breaking into our water plants and our water treatment plants and our sewage plants and our power plants, for that matter, it's been alleged.
And so this is all building up to what? It's all leading up to what? A grand scheme. We keep hearing these dates being thrown out, 2025, 2027. So
no,
it's time to do something.
Yeah.
So 2025, Ross Coulthard, and we played this clip on the show yesterday. Ross Coulthard was very specific. And let me remind you, he has sources high up within the government like I do, and Thomas and I. We look into this. He said the shit is going to hit the fan in 2025.
Yep.
So it's about to get real bumpy. It's going to be a bumpy ride next year.
It should be.
Within a few weeks.
Would you look at this, Mike? We have 1,465 people watching the show right now, a new record for this live stream talking about drones and such, or our podcast, if you want to call it that. Do us a favor, folks, if you're having a good time, you're new to the show, you haven't subscribed yet, do us a favor. Reach out there and hit that subscribe button. This is the only way we can help grow the channel. And about 60% of our people out there who are watching this, if not more, are not subscribers to Disclosure Tonight. More importantly, if you're having a good time, give us a thumbs up. If not, give us a thumbs down and tell us what to improve in our comments. We'd love to hear from you. More importantly, the more interactivity we have, good or bad, signals to YouTube that there's a lot of people interested in this topic, and it will help us share this information more on YouTube.
And bring the truth out to the public about what's really going on and no one else is talking about. So please, everybody, subscribe and like if you enjoy the content that we're providing.
Yeah, we're less than 500 subs now from 10,000. We've had tremendous growth. Can't wait to see where this is all going to lead us. Now, let's go ahead and continue on with the story we had up here a second ago that I brought down for us to go talk about other stuff. Let's continue on with this compelling story.
That doesn't tell me anything.
That's gutless, ma'am, and that is the attitude of the federal government. And I suspect our friends at DOGE will make that report, and I hope Congress has the guts to do something about it. But that in lies the problem right there, because what you'll do is, as I stated on my X account, it had over 3 million views. What I said the problem is the congressmen that are in that room. They got to get the guts to do something about it. And if they make the propeller in one guy's district and the battery in the other parts of the district, they're going to say, well, we need to study this for a while, and we don't need to study it, ma'am. It needs to go away.
Well, so speaking of DOGE, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are talking about trying to find some $2 trillion in savings from the federal deficit. And this is great, and everybody can get behind that. But there's sort of part of me that says, okay, $2 trillion, we've got a $34 trillion deficit.
Yeah, but Mike, this also gets into getting away from politics here to stay on topic. This also comes down to the particular point that, our Department of Defense just failed its 7th or 8th audit in a row where they're unable to account for the spending of nearly $1 trillion.
That they get annually, and there's a total deficit that they cannot account for, the Department of Defense, of what, 21, 22 trillion we've covered before?
Yeah.
Total, right. And they have no answers for all that missing money.
Yeah.
With a $34 trillion deficit, 21 trillion of that is accounted to them. That's missing money, right?
Yeah. It is.
Exactly. It is.
They should be able to go ahead and account for it and know that. I mean, hell, they even have a CFO over the organization to get to it. Now, Mike, you know how we were going ahead and talking about critical infrastructure getting invaded by these drones? We've got a story from CBS News New York about this. Let me go ahead and bring this one next story up for us to go ahead and continue and provide some much-needed analysis to our audience.
Very good.
Here we go.
This will be good.
That mystery continues in the sky over New Jersey. People now reporting even more drone sightings. Law enforcement confirms there have been sightings in Morris, Somerset, and Warren counties. Nick Calloway has been on top of this story from the beginning and has the latest.
It definitely wasn't a plane because it was too low, and it was also going back and forth and then forwards and backwards.
Melissa Kasilniak took this cell phone video Wednesday night from her home in Chatham in Morris County. She says that large object with the flashing red and green lights was hovering just above her neighbor's rooftops.
I think the creepy part is not that it's just a drone, that they're so large.
They look like a small car to me. Their wingspans are probably 6 feet across.
Mark Taylor is the mayor of Florham Park, one town north of Chatham.
People are calling, myself, my home. It's one of those things where they are alarmed.
The FBI is investigating the clusters of possible drones reported over the last few weeks. Florham Park's police chief sent a message to residents that drone sightings have been reported above critical infrastructure, such as water reservoirs, electric transmission lines, rail stations, police departments, and military installations. He added that their presence appears nefarious in nature.
There you go, Mike. There's a good statement right there coming from local members of the government getting out there, getting in front of this, and literally calling it for what it is. It's nefarious.
It's a threat. It can't be interpreted any other way. That's exactly what it is. But what's interesting is how our federal government has absolutely no response to this so far. And this has been going on for a while. And they still haven't made a public statement or haven't done anything to properly deal with what's been going on. This is not a question of us seeing some objects. This is like an invasion. There are too many of them in too many different places and locations, widespread, and it's not stopping. So how could our government not be responding in some way, at least as far as the public is concerned? That in itself could cause panic, which it seems like this is what we're seeing being reported on mainstream media.
Yeah.
People are alarmed.
Yeah. Well, there's a good reason
for
for them to be alarmed at this point.
They should be, because we can't explain what's going on, why they're here, what they're doing.
No, and that's not how the drones look, by the way. They look like actually a small plane, but they're not a small plane because a small plane that doesn't have the ability to travel at 50 miles an hour sustained for hours at a time. More importantly, making quickly banking 90-degree turns that has a tighter turning radius than your SUV, Mike.
No, that's true. It absolutely does. So these things are exhibiting some very unusual characteristics as well, which can't be explained.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There's something odd going on with this, but it doesn't seem like our government right now either cares or is able to do anything directly about it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You know, it's that same kind of a delay tactic, that paralyzation that our government had a year ago in February of this year when we had that situation where we had drones that were seen, or actually UAP that were seen. They said there were drones, turned out probably to be UAP. Otherwise, they would have shown us something on it, just like these things. When you notice, Mike, and when we had those things going on in Dead Horse, Alaska, over the Yukon that was shot down, and the last ones that were initially seen over Maelstrom Air Force Base, where we have our nuclear missile silos, and then it was initially shot down over Lake Huron. All of those times, you know, actually, Mike, we did engage with those drones, and we did have F-15s or F-16s attempt to shoot them down with Sidewinders, didn't they?
They did. And we supposedly, allegedly, weren't able to recover anything, if you remember.
Yeah.
That's what the government said.
But yet, there are pictures of one of the objects that came down, looked like a UFO that was shared from Canada. But more importantly, there has been no coverage, no nothing, or no details released from the government. Now, remember, when we've had Russian bombers come and challenge our airspace over Alaska, we've had Chinese fighters that have come really close to our observation planes that are going in the Taiwan Straits. We also have it's situations where our Reaper drones got uncomfortably close and had fuel dumped on them by the Russians over the Black Sea. And all of those locations, high resolution, very clear footage, have been released the same day and shown to the public. Yet here, our government is like, we don't know what's going on. Do you believe that?
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But speaking of what happened with those three objects back in February, there was supposedly no recovery, no known information about those objects. Now, last night, after we went off the air, there was allegedly a downed drone in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And the state police had responded. But the people that reside there had photos of all of the state police that were in that area, and then they disappeared. And
I've got a full detail. Here we have a helicopter going out and doing it. Yes, the military was involved, and as was the local state police, Mike. So there were a lot of people in that area. That's on the docket for us to cover shortly.
Right. So it's going to be interesting because the details on that make it even more of a mystery. With how they dealt with it. Yeah,
we reached out to our legal representative on that one, who has ties to the New Jersey State Patrol to try and find out what was going on. There was interesting news happening last night, Mike, but this is something, we're definitely going to be covering shortly on that note. Let's go ahead and finish off this story we've got before we get to that next breaking segment. Here we go.
Nature. In Somerset County last week, officials had to cancel an emergency medical helicopter transport because drones were spotted near the chopper's landing area. Some residents in Chatham and across the Garden State say they're starting to worry.
So for some reason, I think of terrorism, which is very morbid.
Local police say there's no immediate threat to the public. But all eyes here are on the sky. In Chatham, New Jersey, Nick Calloway, CBS News, New York.
Yeah, Mike, it's an evolving situation, to say the absolute least. I'm glad we could have this kind of an audience here today, and thank you for everyone for stopping in for the show. Remember, if you're having a good time, you haven't subscribed yet, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you here as a regular. And when you look at that, we have 1,786 people watching the show right now and only 331 likes. What are we doing wrong, folks? If you're having a good time, take this little moment to go ahead and hit that thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're not having a good time, but make sure to tell us why you're not having a good time. On that note, we've got a thread here I want to get coming from Roni Vernette over on Twitter. Let's go ahead and bring this one up here. Let's get to document 3 so we can see it. All right, we're talking about alleged crash retrieval operations of mysterious drones in New Jersey, the mega thread. Before we get to that, Neil, you have your hand up.
Yeah, he said that this wasn't a threat to public safety, but what about the guy inside of the air ambulance?
That's true. What about the drones flying over the water reservoirs? What could they be dropping? Why would they be there? Except to show that we have holes in our defense. Gosh, who would we think about this in 2024, the end of 2024? That we have issues with defending our own country against invaders in the air?
They wanted to cover, Portland had uncovered water reservoirs. They've since been taken offline now, so it's no longer kind of a threat. But after 9/11, there was talk about covering them and kind of altering the natural kind of historic beauty of them, Mount Tabor specifically. And there was a big push by the public, like, don't cover these things. They're absolutely historic and beautiful, and we don't want them covered. So they hired 24-hour security that's still there to this day. They have security on, even though it's no longer our public drinking water, but they still monitor the place because it is somebody could take a tennis ball or anything and throw it in, and you've introduced shit into the water.
Well, here, if you've got the largest water supply for the tri-state area, that you can go ahead and drop something or drop a drone and it's the size of a SUV that's carrying some kind of a payload, that could be very dangerous for what's going on. So we do have another super chat that just came in from Knight's Glory. Actually, Video Illusions, new here. Thank you. Thank you very much for being a subscriber, and thank you for that wonderful super chat. We also had one from Knight's Glory who says these drones are our government's, and they're sending them to areas where they believe UAP actively to defend military installations and hunt for UAPs. Interesting topic, but I don't think if this was us that they would be, maybe they'd be silent about it. I'm not quite sure. Mike, your thoughts? If not, let's go ahead.
Sorry. No. Just sorry about that. This is an ongoing thing. This seems to be creating a lot of concern on behalf of the public. And this has been going on weeks now.
Yeah.
We've been covering this. We started this over a month ago. What was it? November 18th, I believe.
November 18th, we started covering this, Mike. We're one of the first news agencies out there to be covering this.
Right. And in over a month now, we still don't have an official response coming from the government about any of this. This is alarming, to say the least. Yeah. This is a very serious issue, and the public is growing more and more concerned.
Yeah.
Which is why we have a large audience today. Everybody wants to know what's going on.
Oh, gosh,
obviously.
Yes. Now, I do have that news brief that we did bring up and cover on November 18th, Mike, on our show live when we got the news brief to bring it in. Just to recap, people, this is, again, from Raw News Alerts over on Twitter. This was last Saturday on 10:43 p.m. on November 18th. Eastern Time. Let's get into this. Breaking. Multiple people are reporting at least 5 unknown large drones that have been flying unauthorized for over 2 hours. At this time, dozens of law enforcement officials and emergency crews. Let me get this up a little bit higher. Here we go. Emergency crews are responding to numerous reports of multiple unknown large unauthorized drones that have been spotted flying in Morris County, New Jersey. At least 5 unknown drones have reportedly been in the area for over 2 hours. Let me get this up a little. Sorry about that. Bring this up a little bit. Here we go. For over 2 hours with Army Black Hawk helicopters was also tracked on flight, tracking the 5 unknown large drones on radar nearby. And that was going on last night. We'll be covering that shortly. Law enforcement agencies have been advised to report any additional sightings to their communication centers. This is a developing situation, as it says, back again on November 18th. So this is something that's been going on that we're covering, and we are on top of this as much as we can. Would you look at that? We just got another super chat that came in from Brian Pemble. I think you had your hand up as well, Brian. Let's get to this. We need citizen journalists, boots on the ground in the area. Once the government gets hold of anything, poof, it disappears, and that may have happened last night. Let's get on to this evolving story here. But before we do that, Nick, you have your hand up, my friend? I'll put you down, and we'll continue on. One more thing, Overlander BC says, possible drones are from Russia or Chinese subs. Not quite sure. It doesn't have to come from a sub. There is plenty of traffic along the eastern seaboard for all the ports that are there. Correct, Mike?
There is, but here's the thing. These foreign adversary nations like Russia or China, and specifically China, they have 12 nautical miles off the coast of the United States is considered to be international waters. There are fishing boats, cargo ships that are of Chinese origin that can be sending these drones into the coast of the United States, which seems to be where they're tracking from. And we've covered this on the show the entire time. So they're coming from the water, probably most likely international waters.
Yep.
So it's not hard to figure out where they're coming from and how this is going on the way that it is.
But again, if they are coming from the water, we have the ability to track an object the size of a grapefruit or larger from the surface of the ocean out to beyond the moon. Be the heck out there. And if that's the case, they don't know where they're coming from. They're acting like, oh, we don't know what this is. We can't do anything. Oh my goodness. Are they going to start assigning pronouns to these drones, maybe?
No, but here's the thing. The reason why that our government is not reacting is because if, in fact, this does turn out to be China and a new advanced technology that they're utilizing to come into our restricted airspace, if our government was to acknowledge that publicly, these actions that are being conducted here in the U.S. by these objects is technically considered to be an act of war under international law.
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, if our government publicly admitted that they knew that China was involved, we'd have no choice but to escalate hostilities, which is something the current administration does not want to do. I know that for a fact. Ross Coulthart covered it and spoke about exactly the same point and said how his sources within the government said that they don't want to acknowledge this because they don't want to get into an open active war with China. So they're suppressing the information, just like my sources and Thomas's have confirmed the exact same things. This is what's going on and why our government seems to be not acting on this publicly, because they can't, because they don't want to escalate it. That's what's going on, and it's what they're not talking about publicly.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a concerning situation for everyone out there because we've had drones on the East Coast. We've had them on the West Coast. We've had them down in Texas in the last couple days. And these aren't just a couple. We've got swarms that are flying over residential areas. Now, it looks like they could be potentially something in some of these instances. It could be Chinese, lanterns floating through the air, but you never know, especially where all of this is going on. Now, there was a briefing that was going on about UAPs, but apparently over that site where Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was, there was a large unknown drone flying towards and over that location as well. Not saying it's not ours, but it's going on, and I don't think our government's able to pull the wool over the eyes of the public because there's a lot of interest in this, and we deserve a right to know. This is over our houses, over our land, over our country.
Right. It's something that they can't hide. No matter how hard they're trying to do it, it's finally coming out for everybody to see.
Right. So last night at 6:00 p.m. Eastern, we had a Sikorsky CH-53E Super Stallion departing from McGuire Air Force Base to Barren Pines Forest. This bird is ideal for heavy cargo transport, both internally and externally via swing loads. So the what do you call it? The Barren Pines Forest is a location where potentially one of these drones did come down. Now it's 6:10 p.m. Eastern time. It evolved. We had the Sikorsky Super Stallion starting to search for something at Barren Pines Forest close to Pasadena Road, coming from Route 539, possibly retrieved something because it touched ground many times. If we look at their path of what they've been flying here, Mike, and then you can see their overall altitude. So they're going up, they're coming down to the ground here, trying to get something, potentially stopping a couple times on the ground and going back up again. So clearly that Sikorsky helicopter is trying to find something, and if not, load it up and take it out of there.
Right, because that Sikorsky is an airlift transport helicopter.
Yeah.
The only purpose that it serves is not the surveillance. It's only moved to transport objects from one location to the other by the military.
Right.
And if they recovered this object, I guarantee you that in that location in South Jersey, they transported it to McGuire Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Fort Dix.
And I would go ahead and say this is not a coincidence, because coincidences usually don't happen, just like random things generally don't happen. It's things that happen because it's time. But having them going and circling over the location where one of these drones came down, it's very interesting. Again, looking at the altitude graph that we've got here, if I can bring it on a little bit. There we go. You can see clearly that as they got to the area, they dropped down to 0 feet, going up and down several times. Whether they're trying to bring something down or they were trying to go ahead and apprehend it, either way, they had their hands full on this one. Now, if I continue on, Lisa Riccardi Klein said, quote, an incident in the area. My friend just said that there's a drone sitting on the side of the road on 539 between Lacey Road and 72. She says it's about the size of a dune buggy. Could this be the one? I think her friend is correct. So another drone, it looked like, not necessarily in that area, Mike, but another one was down on the ground. Not sure if they're doing that to try and avoid detection, conserve fuel.
Yeah, it could be any one of a number of reasons, but I believe that they recovered one of these, or both of these objects last night, because there were residents in the area that went on social media and they said that there was a lot of activity from the state police, and there was a lot of lights in a particular area where one of these drones was down. And then shortly after that, when the military transport helicopter arrived, they cleared out. Everybody was gone after that, and there was nothing there. So they recovered something.
Yeah.
But they didn't announce it to us.
Yeah, just minutes later, at 6:18 p.m. Eastern Time, New Jersey authorities issued a request for aviation support and encrypted communications channel to Lebanon at 48 Old Mountain Road, where Round Valley Reservoir is located due to a drone incident. So here we go, Mike. Again, we're talking about the drones not just coming by the forest, but they're coming by our reservoirs. Again.
Which is critical infrastructure for the United States and for the residents in that area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next one that came in right before that was that gets to this one. So at 6:20 p.m., just a couple minutes later, an unidentified Leonardo AW-139, probably from New Jersey State Police. Now, this has been verified as it was from New Jersey State Police, departed from an undisclosed location to Round Valley Reservoir. This bird is ideal for surveillance and reconnaissance operations due to its advanced sensors and cameras. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I believe these kind of planes are actually you can see it in the front. I believe these are not just cameras. I believe they're equipped with FLIR cameras, which allow them to see IR.
Yeah, they have infrared. They have all of the current sensor packages that can detect objects from a very great distance on that particular helicopter. It's state police, and it's able to pick up objects very far away and properly identify them. So that's why they were using that platform last night.
Yeah, apparently. So let's get this a little bit further. At 6:24 p.m. Eastern time, the Leonardo AW-139 from New Jersey State Police started a search for something in Round Valley Reservoir. It was hovering at 1,000 feet, and they think it was only observing something, not actually retrieving it. So you can see where it's coming in. It's going around the Round Valley Reservoir that's at that location there. But more importantly, if we take a look at what's going on with the elevation, the blue line showing its overall speed coming to stops and hovering for a period of time, but staying right around, from 1,200 to 2,000 feet and coming back down to 1,600 feet before it returns. So it's clearly, when you can see that its speed had stopped for a while, Mike, it was definitely looking at something.
Oh, it absolutely was, because we know that these objects were in that location, and we have people on the ground who were photographing this that saw and were reporting on that there was activity going on. And it seems like there actually was a crash retrieval, but they haven't publicly admitted that so far. That's the problem.
Well, we had the one plane going, the larger plane, not the larger helicopter, was there going and landing, and potentially it looks like we had the other helicopter coming from the actual State Patrol observing what was going on the ground.
Right. And we have reports from people on the ground over there that saw exactly what was going on. Now, I just want to let our audience know that we're covering this live right here, right now on the show, but NBC News is now asking for witnesses to the New Jersey crash retrieval that occurred last night, because they're going to do a special report on it this evening. So we beat them to the punch, Thomas.
Yeah,
as always.
Well, this is something we're going to keep on covering, and we should have been covering this every day this week, Mike. And my apologies to our audience out there, because there's clearly a lot of interest in what's going on. Just a quick reminder: I know you've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. Really, I'll make it quick. Do us a favor, folks. If you're new to the show, you like this kind of reporting, you like the up-to-the-date covering of events like this, and also maybe interested in hearing about other things that are going on and the cover-up from our government. It's going to be one heck of a ride come January 20th. Do us a favor, folks. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that subscribe. It's the only way we can go ahead and grow this channel. And would you look at that, Mike? We're a little bit shy of 300 new subscribers to be able to hit 10,000 subs.
Oh, before the show is done tonight, there's a good possibility we'll be able to break that mark.
Yeah.
Now, last night at 9:10 p.m., there was a crash retrieval operation going on. And our good friend, Roni Vernay, who's been on the show, he had posted photographs of that I had sent you in a direct message. Did you get the photographs of the crash retrieval operations on the X?
No, I haven't. What I have here is this apparently is the AW-139 from New Jersey State Police, definitely searching for something. So it's kind of hard to see here a little bit. Let me see if I can make it larger, maybe not. Yeah, it's just going to be a little dark here, folks. Sorry about that. Basically, we've had a helicopter here going ahead and shining a light bright down there on the ground. Mike, let me go ahead and protect our audience from my potential things on X.
Yep. And while you're doing that, pull up those two photographs that I DM'd to you that we could show the audience.
That's what I'm trying to bring up right now, Mike. Give me a second, please.
Take your time.
All right, let's go ahead.
But it seems like...
Oh, yeah, this is actually later on in the thread I'm going through right now.
Yeah, perfect.
So before we jump to those, let's go ahead and continue on through the thread, because this is taking us, was taking us... Oh, where did it go? I lost my page. Thank you, Google. Oh, I just had it here. Where was this at? Oh, where did I lose that? Not that one, not that one, not that one. Here we go. Here's the mega thread from Roni Vernay. Let's go ahead and continue on this one. So, also last night, before we get to those pictures, remember, Mike, there is a NOTAM, which is a notice of modification for aviation, prohibiting UAS or drones close to Trump National Golf Course, very, very close to the Round Valley Reservoir. So as of December 6th through December 2024, local pursuant to 49 USC, blah, 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 the Federal Aviation Administration classifies the airspace defined in this NOTAM as a national defense airspace. Pilots who do not adhere to the following procedure may be intercepted, detained, and interviewed by law enforcement security personnel. Any of the following additional actions may also be taken against a pilot who does not comply with the requirements or any special instructions or process announced in this notum. A, the FAA may take administrative action, including imposing civil penalties and suspension and revocation of airman certificates. But Mike, this is more like going from the FAA, going over people who are pilots, but clearly we're not dealing with regular pilots here. We're dealing with drones.
Correct. This is something that they're considering to be a threat, which is why they instituted that no-fly zone for these objects from civilian operators, because they're trying to lock it down.
Yeah. Now, close to 7 o'clock last night, that U.S. Marines Corps Sikorsky CH-53E Super Stallion concludes its search at Barren Pine Forest, flying immediately back to its base near the Hudson River. Let's continue on with this. At 7 p.m. Eastern Time last night, an unidentified Leonardo AW-139 from New Jersey State Police concludes its search in the Round Valley Reservoir. Would you look at that at, let's move on, 7:54 p.m. We got the Super Stallion returning to McGuire Air Force Base. Now, I think that's the end of that one. Now, Mike, I know you had brought up some additional pictures that came from last night. Let me go ahead and saying this. During the crash retrieval last night, there we go. Crash retrieval operations, 2 UFOs. Now we have Roni, Mike, calling these UFOs, which ups the situation a bit.
Well, there's a lot of confusion about these objects. So far, people are unsure what they are. They're referring to them as UAP, UFOs, and drones.
Right. But anyway, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at Pine Barrens Forest area, multiple witnesses, including an Air Force military, observed, it's maybe a little bit hard to see here, an X in the sky. Let me go ahead and just take this really quick if I can. And where's it at? Is it? That's it. Filters. Let me get the color correction. Let me take the gamma. Turn this up a little bit. Reset that to defaults. Let's take the brightness maybe up a little. No, that ain't going to do it. Push the contrast up. Nope, that ain't going to do it. I'm just trying to make it so it's going to make it a little bit easier for people to go ahead and see this. It seems I'm making it worse versus making it better. Yeah, if you can kind of see it there, folks, there is an X there in the background. For some reason,
in the sky,
transparent, and it's actually showing through my background behind it. But yeah, there is an X back there, Mike.
It seems like one of these objects that was down is putting up a distress signal by using an X to mark in the sky that its location of going down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is unusual.
Yeah. It is very unusual. And yeah, I'm sorry, folks, you're seeing some buildings come through here in the background. That's actually the background I have behind it. For some reason, it's interfering with the green screen that I've got here. But clearly, Mike, you can see that X in the sky. I wonder if that means X marks the spot.
Maybe, but the photo you have up now is very clearly highlighting the X.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is, what one of these objects had put up at the location that it went down. So I don't know what it means. I don't know why they would use that symbolism, but it's obvious that it's employing some sort of technology that would allow it to do that, because it's not a flare that's going up. Whatever they're using, whatever technology these objects have, is interesting to say the least, that they're able to do something like that.
And what we have here in the background of it, this is the moon. I believe we've got an X going at this place where you're seeing the buildings and all this other stuff that's popping up there. That stuff actually doesn't exist.
Nope, that's from the green
Actually,
screen.
you know what? If I go to video full, oh, it's still screwed up. What the hell? Let me go ahead and turn off color correction. There you can kind of see it a little bit. As soon as I turn color correction on, it screws with the image. But you guys can get an idea of what we're dealing here, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. This is something that we haven't seen before.
No. It is, and it's an evolving situation. There are large things being seen in the sky, and it's just something, everybody wants to know of. Now, while all this is going on, Mike, we've had Pentagon going ahead, holding classified briefings with Congress with regards to UAP, with regards to UFOs, with non-human intelligence, etc. Congress, the House of Representatives, wants to know what's going on with this. I think all of us want to know. We all deserve some transparency. We even had Nancy Mason in an interview yesterday, Mike, not covered on this clip, saying, I want to see the bodies, put them on a gurney, and wheel them out in front of Congress.
Well, obviously, we would all like to see that. So she's just stating the obvious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I could, I want to go ahead and get to our next story here, covering the state of disclosure in the United States. Let's continue on. Here we go.
National headlines today. Pentagon officials participated in a classified briefing on Capitol Hill with the House Oversight Committee. The discussion reportedly focusing on the unidentified flying objects over military sites and President-elect Donald Trump's golf course. Here's national correspondent Kaylee Gaskins.
For the past few weeks, residents of New Jersey spotting mysterious objects flying at night.
This is over my house right now.
Wait a second. People are probably not.
What is that?
Some close to a military installation. Others over President Trump's Bedminster Golf Club, raising alarm. The FAA restricting airspace. The FBI now investigating.
Oh my God, here we go. What is that?
Officials admitting they can't say for sure what the flying objects are. Some saying they're the size of a small automobile. In a statement, a New Jersey police chief saying their presence appears nefarious in nature. The concerns reportedly being discussed behind closed doors on Capitol Hill Friday in a classified briefing between Pentagon officials and House Oversight Committee members.
Is the truth?
A few weeks ago, lawmakers held a public hearing aimed at advancing transparency around unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs for short.
Why the secrecy if it's really no big deal and there's nothing there? Why hide it from the American people?
And the American people have legitimate questions, and I believe it's critical that Congress should help address them. This is about the truth and science and facts.
Following the hearing, the Pentagon saying this.
To date, the department has discovered no verifiable evidence of extraterrestrial beings, activity, or technology.
We could be getting more information on what the government does and doesn't know regarding UAPs and UFOs relatively soon. Donald Trump says he supports transparency on the subject and even promised to release classified footage of the phenomena while on the campaign trail. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Now, Mike, I do have some footage here from Roni Vernette from last night. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. Let me see if I can go ahead and bring us back on camera as well. Pull that up, scroll it up a little bit. This is a pretty good clear video of one of the drones that are out there, Mike. Let me bring this up here, flying around in the sky. As you can see, it does kind of look like, in some ways, like a plane, but the way they're turning and the way it's behaving, it's not a Cessna, it's not a helicopter, it's not a normal plane. We're talking about some kind of advanced lightweight aircraft that is using turbines and other things to stay in the air, but how they're staying up for so many hours at a time in the size that they are, man, majority of their weight has got to be going to their fuel. Mike? I think we lost Mike on that one. Interesting enough. Go ahead.
Only temporarily. Sorry about that. Juggling different things at the moment. But yeah, no, it seems like right now, currently, they don't release any information. Now, we know there was a crash retrieval last night. They haven't come forward and publicly admitted that. Why are they covering it up? Why are they hiding this information from the public? That's what I want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. That's why they're here right now.
It doesn't make sense. The cover-up that's going on, the number of people that are witnessing this is eclipse just things going on, hanging out over military sites. And I think who's ever been doing this stuff, going all the way back to the stuff that started back at, last year at Langley Air Force Base. This seems like an escalation. We had the ones at Langley. Now we've got the ones going. We had the ones going at Lakenheath in the United Kingdom, where the weather's been crappy and rainy and everything. A lot of the people who can normally get out there haven't been able to get out there to go ahead and record on this stuff. But now we've got the stuff going back in the United States, and nothing's given up here. Nothing's stopping it. It seems like it's escalating. Do you think this is going to come to a point soon?
No. I don't. I think this is going to continue. I think there's too many of these objects that are running around with impunity. I don't think it's going to stop, even if we brought one or two of these objects down so far. There's too many of them. It's going to continue. And they're going to continue to cover this up, hide it, and not provide the information that we need, and the public has a right to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really concerning about this, because everybody has a right to know what's going on, and they seem to be trying to keep that from everybody for no reason, not anything that we're aware of. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It
honestly.
doesn't make sense, Mike, does it?
No, it sure as hell doesn't. That's why we're covering it right now for everybody.
Yeah. We got another super chat that just came in from a new subscriber, Phanimus Fanto, saying everybody in this chat subscribe and get Disclosure tonight to 10,000 subs. Yeah, Mike, we are getting close at this point. Would you look at this? We are 9,797 viewers. We're less than a little bit more than 200 subs away. If you're watching the show, you're part of the 2,000 people that are watching this broadcast, hadn't subscribed yet, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for bringing it up, Phantomus. I appreciate that so much. Let's get back into the newsroom while I go ahead and bring up some more stories here. There's just a lot of things I want to go ahead and bring up here today, Mike. Let me get back to my Twitter feed. I've got a lot of things that I've gone in and thrown into the box of stuff to cover today. As I woke up, I saw what was going on, and I knew this is something we had to jump into and cover. Well, Brian Pemble, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, while you're looking, Thomas, I just want to throw in one theory, and I want to be clear, I don't necessarily subscribe to this one, but it's out there that this is a red cell, or you might want to call it a blue on blue thing, and they're targeting critical infrastructure, military bases, and Trump to send him a message that you're not in charge, we are. So that's just one theory that's out there that I think the audience should know about.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I appreciate you bringing that up. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is a blue? This is a blue on blue exercise going on, Mike? I'm gonna have to go ahead and mute you for a second.
Well, I thought the last video you showed, for example. So just so the audience knows too, when you have red and green on your wings, that's pretty typical of any aircraft. Those are the tail light markers. So are we seeing extra lights? Are we seeing reflections on that one? That's a possibility. But the fact that they are flying over military installations with impunity and not being able to be shot down, except for maybe that one honky in New Jersey that may have shot one down, I think is interesting. So Look, I told you guys last week that I messaged somebody really high up, an executive in one of the drone companies that makes the big ones, and he told me, and he's not a UFO believer, and he said he thinks it's China. I said, what do you think about Russia? He says, nope, not Russia, but he told me that it's not theirs. Okay, and this is the biggest drone company in the world. They make all the big military ones. He said it's not theirs, so.
Well, it's good to know. Now, what I do have up here, Brian, is I do have a feed that was from last night from Curious Astronaut over on Twitter, and they basically an edit of their local sport drone chasers on the Highlands and Sandy Hook, New Jersey. So definitely there's an interest coming in from people wanting to go ahead and get out there. And this is what you were talking about, Brian, about citizen journalists coming forward, right? This is what we need. We need more people to be able to come out there, get in their cars at night, drive around, try and help solve the problem, because clearly we're not going to be getting any answers from our federal government. Now, a lot of our agents a lot of people on the local side, local police, state police, emergency personnel, they're asking the right questions at this point. Tia, you have your hand up, my dear lady.
So here's a thought too. I believe that China may have broke through with some quantum mechanics within quantum entanglement, and is able to kind of have their own bubble of communication and with these whatever they are, drones.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's all China, but I think that they figured some stuff out that we have not.
Yeah.
My
all
opinion.
right. On that, I'm glad you brought this one up because this is something I wanted to address. Let me bring this up. Quantum is the magic word. A lot of people want to go ahead and use it to explain things that are going on out there. And most importantly, we hear quantum, we think of quantum computers, right? What makes quantum computers special compared to regular computers we have? A, the amount of power they use. They use a lot. B, they have to be super cooled. C, all the, if you want to call it, they're very large in what they put together because it's not just computers that are running based on electricity. They're running based on microwave radiation being sent between all these different parts of the quantum computer. So while it could potentially be a quantum device, Tia, it would require a ton of power and cooling to make any kind of quantum device work. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't like say it without really thinking.
Yeah.
Like with some of the craft that are so cold, like we've never seen stuff like that. I just think that somehow that's why they were so adamant about the 5G coming up. I think that they've went above it. I don't know. I think that the United States dropped the ball by us citizens telling them over and over, we're seeing these things in our sky. They're not listening. Maybe they got the drop on the UAP that they found.
Right.
Just a thought.
Yeah. It's a really good thought, Tia. Absolutely it is. Let me see. That's December 8th. That's an episode we had last night from the nightly news. Let me get past that one. I know I've just got a bunch of coverage in here I want to be able to bring up next. Now, interesting enough, I've got a video here from mystery drone sightings in the Northeast United States that's over 10 years old. And you know what, Tia? Although it's in black and white and it's from an old VHS recorder, this looks very similar to what we've been seeing. Let me go ahead and bring up this old clip here for you to go ahead and for me to share. Let's get this up here, document 3. Let's bring it up and let's go ahead and show this. It's a similar kind of craft where we've got, where is it from the bottom here? You can see it's that similar kind of a, you're in the way here. Let me move this across a little bit. That similar shape that we've been seeing so far. More importantly, we've got lights coming down. We've got the craft that have been going up there for hours at a time. It's something very similar. Not going to say it's exact, but this is something that was going on in that area well over 10 years ago. So we can say this is potentially something new, but it's something that's been going on for a long time. And apparently whatever was causing it 10 years ago, potentially it's back because we had people last night who were seeing drones up to 5 at a time. They saw 50 to 60 of these things moving around last night. So it's a very fluid and evolving situation.
All different sizes too.
Yeah.
All different sizes. And the helicopters that are not regular helicopters, they damn near shook my house down. So
yeah,
it's something's happening.
Absolutely. Really quick, we have a new caller in the back who joined the back. Thanks for coming in. Steven, you have your hand up, my friend.
I would like to know if it's possible that we can get citizens of the United States that are airplane pilots to be able to coordinate together and start a private citizens investigation to get a closer video or pictures of these objects.
Yeah, that's an option. Now, there are organizations out there. Let me see. Oh, wait, isn't it coming up? Did I type it wrong? Oh, yeah, I typed it wrong. Let's go ahead and bring this one up here. There are organizations out there that are kind of doing this already. One of them is called the National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena. Now, they've been around for, gosh, close to 20 years at this point. It was founded by former NASA scientists Richard Hines and Ted Rowe, who's still around. And if our pilots want to make reports, remember when we had those big sightings that were going down in Chile years ago? People from NARCAP went down to Chile to go ahead and interview the pilots, and they've got a lot of great reporting centers. Now, we do have things like MUFON, where it's a little sketchy more these days, but there are organizations like NARCAP and the Americans for Space Aerospace to try and bring out the truth. And you know what, Stephen? There are a lot more reports coming in from pilots these days, and more importantly, if we talk about pilots, I heard from who is it? That one of the pilot who was seen with the Go Fast and the gimbal is actually getting ready to come forward. A pilot by the name of Ryan Graves, who's talked to this pilot many times, says he's finally feeling comfortable enough and safe enough to be able to come forward. So there is a lot of stigma going on with reporting this, but the more we're seeing it, the more chance that there's going to be. Is the stream still going? Yes. To go ahead and actually, you know, do the reporting on this. Let me get back to. Does that make sense, Stephen?
Yes, it does, and I thank you. Anybody with a private aircraft that's out there, perhaps we can all get together and do a private citizen investigation locally and coordinate. Thank you very much.
Are you on the East Coast, Stephen?
I'm in Ruidoso, New Mexico.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, you know, the biggest thing we need to do is just go outside and look up sometimes.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming in, my friend. Appreciate you being here.
From New York. I'm his fiance, Sandra.
Oh, Sandra, thank you for coming in as well.
Thank you.
Are you enjoying the broadcast?
Yes, I am.
Excellent.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys being here. Have you guys subscribed yet?
Yes, we have.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's the only way we can grow this. We're less than 200 subs away, folks, from hitting 10,000 subs. Hopefully, we'll hit that in the next half an hour to an hour. Michael Suckloff from Canada. You have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, from all the reports that I've seen so far, I'm still not convinced that they're from China or Russia or anything like that. I still think that they are UFOs.
Yeah. You know, that brings up a good point, Mike. We haven't had a good survey going on here in the last couple days. Oh, gosh,
That's right. I was going to mention that. Do a survey.
Let me go ahead and do a survey right now. Let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to do a quick 2-minute survey here in Disclosure tonight. We're going to go ahead and say start a poll. We'll call this. You can see me. You guys can see me. Go ahead and put this together for everybody. Let's go ahead and bring up desktop document 3. Let's go ahead and type this poll, and we're going to say East Coast sightings, human drones or UAP UFOs. Let's see where our audience takes us. Hey, Google, set a timer for 2 minutes. All right, we're going to do a rapid survey on this, folks.
And we're starting.
Peggy from South Florida left a super chat.
Oh, thank you very much. Peggy and her South Florida friends, that would be coming from, that would be Steve, Crockett, and Tubbs. Thank you very much for that wonderful super chat and for being a longtime subscriber on Disclosure tonight. Now, if I go ahead and focus in on the survey, a little bit different these days. It looks like right now, let's get our music up for this. We've got 1:34. This is your chance, everybody, to go ahead and vote. We have 147 votes in with over 2,000 people watching the show now. So this is your chance to say what you guys think that it is. If I can, let me pull on the background music on this one. Let's see where we can go ahead and take this. Currently, we've got 179 votes in right now. And how many people do we have watching the show? Let's find out. Oh, we've got 1,950 people. Come on, let's see if we can get this up to at least 200 people to go ahead and we're at 205 already. Currently, we're at a 50-50 split right now. Earlier in the week, we were at a 70% of our audience was saying on a regular basis that these were UAP UFOs. But right now, we're almost at a 50-50 split. It's interesting how when more information is being brought forward, that the audience's view on this is swaying. And even from my aspect, these could be just a breakthrough technology coming potentially from China or Russia or one of our adversaries, someone who's definitely trying to do something to go ahead and, if you want to call it, cause panic among the people. Chansey, you're new, my friend. You have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who have been swayed a little. I wanted to believe that they were UAP, UFO. I'm an experiencer, but with more information, I think this is either a final FU to the Biden administration, and we'll see it ramp down when Trump takes office, or something.
I don't think there's anything political on this. If anything, our president at this point could go ahead and do an executive order today if he wanted to go ahead and say we could go ahead and start shooting these things down and bringing them down and stopping this mania from going on. Now, is it Chasey?
Chasey, yeah, raise their hand again. So
Yes.
now we need to call on him next. Go ahead, Chasey.
Hey, my name's it's Chase.
Chase.
My mom chose to get weird with the spelling there. But no, I just wanted to jump in and just make a point here. In my mind, if the government isn't taking action, it's the civilians' duty to do so. Secondly, I would like to say that in my mind, I've seen a lot of news stories on prisoners, for instance, using drones to charter in paraphernalia into prison systems and stuff like that from the outside. So some of the reports that are coming out these are the size of SUVs. I can't imagine the amount of dangerous ordnance that something that size could actually carry.
Exactly.
So for me, this is a huge national security issue. And the fact that the government is not reacting is very telling.
Yeah.
So in my mind, if there's a reason, I made a comment earlier that these are happening in New Jersey versus the southern states. If this happened over Dallas, Fort Worth, I think this would have ended a week ago. So, but that's just my 2 cents. I of course, I've always been a fan of UFO commentary and stuff, but just for my 2 cents, this seems like one of those pass the buck situations. Like, we don't want to make a call on our watch. This administration has one foot out the door. So they're essentially passing the buck. But anyways, great podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being a subscriber, my friend, and thanks for jumping in the back. That's what makes this show special. We're the only show out there of our type that actually has open doors for viewer call-in. It's great to see people coming in and making a difference on our communications with the people watching this show. Now, if I can here really quick, I want to get into this right here and show our results from our survey. And the public audience has swayed. We've gone from about 70 to 80% thinking it's UAP UFOs down to 52%. And right now we're about a 50-50 split. We'll see where that goes as time goes on. Tia, you have your hand up, my dear lady.
I have to agree with Chase. And here's my thought, and it's just a thought. But I think that if the government was to acknowledge that these were from China or Russia or whoever, if it's a nation state, especially if it's, it's going to be, once they acknowledge that they're doing it, isn't that like they have to acknowledge the fact that they have invaded our country and this is an act of war?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mike, I think you brought that up as well, that this could be an act of war against the United States.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. All right. Now, I do have another video coming to us from CBS News in Philadelphia that was on last night, I believe. Let's go ahead and play the story to see what they're talking about coming from the public perspective. Corporal Abe, you have your hand up before we jump into this?
Yeah, just really quickly, I just wanted to say just jamming U.S. military aircraft radar is an act of war.
Yeah, that is true. Great point on that. So whatever's going on here is definitely nefarious, to say the least. All right, let's go ahead and play this video. Here we go, folks.
But what you're seeing in this video, which may be a little difficult to make out, is the talk of several towns in South Jersey. Police say multiple sightings of drones were reported in Burlington and Camden counties last night. Now federal authorities have joined the investigation to determine who they belong to. New Jersey reporter Ryan Hughes is in Marlton right now with the very latest. Ryan.
Hey, C Alpha, good afternoon to you. This is the area where police say those drones were first spotted last night. We're near Marlton Parkway and Evans Road, and we're told those drones were flying over neighborhoods like this one, as well as highways. And now investigators are looking into what exactly they were looking at and why.
We've been seeing this drone. It's circling.
That's Troy McNair's voice. He says he recorded this video Thursday night from his home in Clementon after his girlfriend saw lights flashing outside their window.
It flew by, then it came back, and it just hovered
I say that's definitely a drone.
We had varying reports of anywhere between 4 to 8 drones that were flying through the area.
Evesham Township Police tell CBS News Philadelphia they fielded several calls from concerned residents around 8 p.m. Thursday after seeing the drones hovering and zipping through the air for about 3 hours.
Some were described as large as like an SUV, had blinking lights on them.
That just says to the amount of electronics that could be on board, the amount of recording information they can get.
Evesham Township Police say the mysterious drones were also spotted over Cherry Hill, Medford, and Mount Laurel. The FBI and New Jersey State Police are now investigating who the drones belong to and why they were in the air.
I wouldn't like to know that, they're spying on you, because I don't know how much they can see into your house, things like that.
Evesham Township Police say they're also investigating a possible connection to other drone sightings this week in both North and Central Jersey, after investigators there warned of large drones seen flying over critical infrastructure. McNair calls the unusual activity quite concerning.
Just trying to find out if it's anything nefarious, anything suspicious going on.
And Evesham Township Police tell me they are now also working with the police chiefs from around this area, as well as the FAA and, again, the FBI. They're also asking anyone who may have took photos or videos of those drones in the air last night, let them know they would like to see them as part of their investigation. We are live this afternoon in Evesham Township. Ryan Hughes, CBS News Philadelphia.
Yeah, that neighborhood you're in is also right by the promenade at Sagemore, which is a very popular shopping destination in that area. Very interesting, Ryan. Thank you so much.
There we go. And our next story coming up from NBC News from this morning, I believe. Let's go ahead and play this next clip talking about the similar situation. Remember, folks, we're only about 100 subs away from hitting 10,000 subscribers here. We're actually at 9,925, only 75 more subs to go. Please help us get to 10,000, folks. We'd appreciate it. Here we go on the next clip.
Tonight, an aerial mystery that's been described as unnerving is growing. The FBI now investigating multiple reports of unidentified drones flying over New Jersey, some as large as a small car. And today, a large drone seen here, also described as the size of a small vehicle, flying over a California event where Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in attendance.
More drones in the sky. Rockaway, New Jersey.
The New Jersey drones, initially spotted in the northern part of the state, now being reported further south. Sightings also now being reported in New York City. Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella calling on the FAA and FBI to expand their investigation.
People have seen a number of 15-foot or so wingspan drones hovering around. In this day and age, I just don't think that that's something you take lightly. If it is, nothing to be concerned about. Someone should come forward and say that.
Residents alarmed by the number of sightings.
One would go over, and then the next one would come, and then the next one, and the next one. So it wasn't like there would be 20 coming at one time.
Jonathan Lace, a pilot himself, shot this shocking video overnight of multiple car-sized drones near the Essex County, New Jersey airport. So concerned by what he saw, he contacted the FAA.
What's been probably the most alarming thing to you?
As a pilot, I can tell you that, when you're about to land, the last thing you want to see is something hovering in front of you.
What is that?
With many questions and few answers, residents and officials alike on high alert as the mystery in the sky deepens. George Solis, NBC News, New York.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the end.
I've got another video clip to I have us jump into in a second. I just have to find this really quick and download it. I'm trying to bring these things up as quickly as I can, folks, to go ahead and cover what's been happening in the media. Let's play this next clip. Here we go, coming up. I believe this one is drone captured. Let's go ahead and talk on this one. This one, they're going to show some examples of what regular drones looks like and how it's compared to what we're seeing in the skies over the East Coast. Here we go, folks.
And it's been another night of drone sightings across New Jersey. The Ocean County Sheriff's Office.
Get this back here again. Here we go. I'll restart this one.
And it's been another night of drone sightings across New Jersey. The Ocean County Sheriff's Office tells us tonight has brought reported sightings in the western and southern parts of the county. One of them they caught on camera. News 12 New Jersey's Tom Krasnowski tagged along with the drone patrol for this exclusive report.
Okay, Okay, there's no audio.
We saw something flying a little low, so we took some video of it, you know, and not really sure what it was. Definitely something flying low and fast.
The Ocean County Sheriff's Office was on drone patrol Saturday night after a rash of unexplained sightings statewide. What began in Morris County has made its way down the Parkway. This is the first time that the Ocean County Sheriff's Office has documented one of these encounters on camera.
It was coming in our direction. It spun around, did 180 degrees, went back out the other way, then it kind of looped around and then took off past us.
The drone team's setup includes wide and thermal cameras. They say the object they saw was larger and faster than a recreational drone and unlisted on flight radar.
We noticed it was flying a little bit lower than it should have been for a plane. We checked the radar. We didn't see that there was any planes in the area, 5-6 miles out. Yeah. And it was probably moving probably about 60, 70 miles an hour.
Sergeant Kevin Fennessy says planes can be easily mistaken for drones, but this was no plane.
Planes, they have, you know, a white tail light coming from them, and each wing has a different color, whether it be red or green. Drones sometimes have different flashing lights. Planes, there's red and green or solid. Whatever it is, it's different.
Yeah, it's definitely something, and we're just going to be looking into it a little bit more to see if we can figure it out.
In Ocean County, Tom Krasnowski, News 12, New Jersey.
Mike, your thoughts on this one? This is really interesting. We even have first responders out in there checking this out. But more importantly, they're equipped with the same flight radar that a lot of people watching this show uses.
No, you're right. They are. And what they're trying to be is proactive for the constituents that they're responsible for, because we're not getting any type of answers from the federal government. So local law enforcement and local governments and communities have no choice at this point but to try to see what answers they can come up with on their own. It's disappointing that we're in a position now where we can't rely on our government that takes our tax dollars very quickly, but in a situation like this is unable to provide simple, basic answers to everybody.
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Mike, they should have answers. They should have more information. But the reality of it is it's not getting shared with the general public or first responders or other people, local governments for that matter.
Correct. And they have a legal responsibility at the very least to share information with local governments and local law enforcement. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that for some reason.
Yeah. Now, we do have 2 questions coming in from Overlander, BC. Thank you very much for the questions and the super chats, my friend. First one, any evidence that the drones are using LiDAR? No, but LiDAR equipment's not that large, and considering these craft are the size of a small SUV, they should be able to be equipped with it if they were. I'm not sure if there'd be any LiDAR detectors out there, but, you know, it's a possibility. And his other question was, has NORAD made any statements? I don't believe they have they?
None. Nothing. Not a word, Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, in other words, what we're hearing, actually, we do have a quote from a representative at NORAD about what they found, Mike.
We ain't found shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the way that it usually, unfortunately, goes with our government. They're never quite telling us the truth or anything going on. Now, I do have another clip here that came up from another citizen journalist out there going ahead and reporting on this. Let me bring this one up here. Document 3. Let's go ahead and play this clip here without the audio. This is just... Uh-oh. There we go. Someone's seeing the craft again. You know, granted, we're dealing with grainy footage coming from a citizen, but the thing that comes out of this, Mike, though, is there are so many sightings of the same craft. This is what we've been waiting for the longest time. We've been literally waiting to go ahead and have a mass event happening because we know everybody out there, I don't have my phone on me, here it is, has cell phones. And they have the ability to go ahead and...
photograph and videotape.
Absolutely, my friend. So it's one of the things, so we can see this, people have on their phones. It's from all over the place on the eastern seaboard. And, you know, we're seeing a pattern of similar craft. Now,
so it's obviously there's something going on. even if the government is not admitting it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's very clear to me, Mike, that definitely something is going on. Our government is doing everything to admit what they're aware of what the situation truly is. Because, you know, what is our government going to do, or military going to do, to get on there and say, yeah, we have craft from our adversaries that's a breakthrough technology. Our ability, our technology we use for bringing these things down doesn't work. We're afraid to go ahead and shoot these things down, and they have domain over our skies, which, again, would be the last thing that anyone would want to go ahead and do. I mean, Mike, heck, they could even go out there with helicopters and net guns like you're trying to catch a caribou or something and shoot them down that way and bring them down if they had to.
Exactly. No, that's right. But I saw last night on YouTube that there was some enterprising civilians that were live streaming, going out in their cars in New Jersey, looking to hunt these drones down. So I guess the citizens, the public, is being proactive in this, Thomas.
Yeah. Mike, I have the footage up right here. This is coming from Curious Astronaut, where there are people having a local sport of drone chasing going on in the Highlands and near Sandy Hook, New Jersey. So, yeah, this is probably one of the things that you saw on YouTube last night, Mike. And this is just an edited down version that they brought up and showed on Twitter. So there are a lot of people that are interested in this. There's a lot of people. And if there's any people out there who have been hunting it down, you have an experience with it, do us a favor, follow that link, join the show. We'd love to hear from you on this.
Oh, absolutely. We'd like to hear some firsthand witness accounts of what was going on last night.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Would be great.
Coming to us from the upper Midwest, near Lake Michigan, let's go ahead and welcome Harold. You have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I'm just going to point out that I think I've seen a post from Into Thin Air where he matches up a specialized helicopter to one of those lights in the sky videos. So I don't know if you knew that or...
But these things don't sound like helicopters. That's part of the problem. Right. So you've got some people trying to match it towards other craft, but if it doesn't meet the sound profile but does visual, that means we've got something that's trying to disguise it as something that it's clearly not.
Well, I've been thinking that maybe these things are adapting themselves or modifying themselves to fit in with our expectations and stuff, you know. That, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, sir. And as of last night, I believe this is about later this evening, we actually had it where, if you remember the E-2 Hawkeyes, Mike, that were involved with the Tic Tac incident, not many people know about it, but there are eyes in the sky for what's going on. And apparently we had... do we have? Yeah, there was an update. They had an E-2D Hawkeye heading to New Jersey last night to try and figure out what's going on in the sky. And here's a picture of what we're dealing with. More importantly, coming from the UAP Reporting Center, I believe we've got an image showing that we had the E-2 Hawkeyes going from St. Louis, being dispatched and heading towards New Jersey last night. You know, this is the kind of reinforcements that we need to go ahead and try and figure out what's in the sky and bring this stuff down, or at least understand what's truly going on. You just have to wonder, Mike, why is it taking so long for our government? Why are they so paralyzed?
They're not paralyzed. They are specifically avoiding this topic like the plague. They are not looking to engage, and they're not looking to divulge any information to the public. It's obvious what they're doing, and it's not making the situation any better. That position isn't going to work for them because more and more people are aware of this. And now mainstream media is finally taking the lead and covering this, which they haven't before. Yeah. So now it's going to be something that's going to be very hard to avoid. You would think. Now, just to go ahead and
bring up a video clip here that I'll call on Corporal Abe in 1 second. I want to go ahead and bring this up really quick just to show people what we're What we're dealing with definitely is not off-the-shelf commercial drones, something like you would see in a drone show like this, where you have thousands of them or tens of thousands of them in the sky to go ahead and do shapes and move it around. We're talking about drones that are moving in excess from 50 to 100 miles an hour, that are staying aloft for hours at a time, and they seem to be, there's no way to bring these things down.
No. They also are reportedly that they can go dark, and when that happens, they're undetectable by standard sensor platforms.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they're able to do that, but there are reports that that's exactly what these objects are able to do as well.
Yeah. No, I've got another clip here. I mean, make sure the audio is all right. Probably not need to have audio on this one, but this is another clip showing some of the craft that are flying around in the sky. Someone's got a somewhat decent lens on a camera, and they're trying to zoom in and figure out what these things are that everybody is seeing. Let me bring this up a little bit higher, see if I can get to an area where... Oh, this is an interesting one. This one is when they're actually going in and zooming in on it. There's actually something going at the top of this. Let me see if I can download this video. Last night when I tried to download, I was getting an error on it. There we go.
Yeah, that's the object has something rotating on the top, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go ahead and bring this one up here outside of Twitter, bring it up into my video feed here, and we can actually then go ahead and skip along into it. And I believe this one here at the... Uh-oh, wrong way. Zoom out again. Let's get this back to here where I was just at. What we're looking at in this craft, let me zoom it in now a couple times, bring it down. There's something that's going at the very top of this that's actually, I don't know if it's on this one, but I know it's one like it, where we're going to see something spinning at the top of the object in a way that's not a traditional... Actually, this is a good close-up of the bottom of the craft here, Mike, that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
There we go.
I see it.
It's a helicopter, Thomas.
It's... Yeah, but if it's a helicopter, it should be making noise like a helicopter, Harold, and it's not.
Well,
so
okay.
if it's a helicopter, if it looks like a duck, it should quack like a duck, right?
Right.
So if it looks like a duck, but it's not quacking like a duck, it's not a duck.
Yeah, just real quick, Thomas, I don't mean to jump the line here, but I've just been talking with a long-time military helicopter pilot. He's flown about every helicopter you can imagine. He says there's no such thing as a silent helicopter. He says the physics prevents it. And yeah, that was just about 2 minutes ago.
Right. So now it may match up with the look from the bottom of a helicopter, but yeah, clearly these things are not helicopters. You know, if it was a helicopter, I think I'd be relieved because we'd have a better idea what was going on. We'd still have to be asking the question, why are these helicopters going? Why are they coming down near and going over our water supplies? There's something more nefarious going on. Corporal Abe, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I just wanted to add some context about the E-2 Hawkeye. This is United States Navy's like workhorse reconnaissance aircraft that we use in like all our major combat. I've landed thousands of them, and so whatever the Hawkeyes are up there looking at, and you got to remember that Commander Fravor and other Navy personnel that have been whistleblowers in the past have said that they've received certain types of upgrades in regards to UFO and UAP.
Yeah.
So they got to be seeing something, you know, and if they're not, then that's definitely saying that their radar is being jammed, and it's an act of war. So this is an extremely serious situation, and it's you know, I can't wait till President Trump gets there so we can actually get some leadership inside and get something done. Because right now, you know, like my family's from Philadelphia area, and I'm concerned.
Yeah. Now, coming on back to the E-2 Hawkeye, my friend, an interesting thing about that, at least I was told years ago, that they have the ability to go ahead as they're flying over, and if you have a television screen or computer screen on or a cell phone screen, they can actually go ahead and intercept the noise coming off from the actual objects and be able to bring that stuff up in the E-2 Hawkeye. It's a fairly advanced surveillance platform.
Extremely advanced, and it's continuously getting updates to its, you know, performance capabilities.
Yeah.
Extremely advanced.
Absolutely. You know, the FBI is trying to figure out what's going on. You know, coming from Roni Vernette saying, to quote, in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense for the FBI to ask for help of the people to know more about the mysterious drone sightings. Heck, they should know what's going on. Maybe the only reason to do this is to know first if anyone touches smoking gun evidence before it spreads. That's actually a good point, Abe, that the FBI could be out there trying to sweep up information and quiet down good reporting on this by our citizens.
I believe that there is some level of control happening in the mainstream media and also in the civilian citizen reporting. media.
Yes.
I don't know who's behind it. I don't want to point fingers and say it's the FBI, CIA, or this political party, but I definitely agree that there is definitely some nefarious behavior happening with our freedom of speech, and I don't like it because I fought for that. So
yeah. Absolutely. With only 16 subscribers short of hitting 10,000 subs while it's
come
gone
on,
fast.
guys. Let's go.
Let's get it
Give
there,
me
folks.
16.
Come on. Help push us over that edge. This
guys.
is amazing support we've been
16,
getting from
let's
our
go,
audience.
guys.
Yes. Tia Loreno, you have your hand up, my dear lady.
So I wanted to ask your opinion. What now? The government isn't doing anything that we see that's proactive, right? So what happens if a civilian blows one of these things out of the sky? Then what?
Well, you know, these things are the size of an SUV, so a civilian to be able to go ahead and pull these things out of the sky, it may be a bit difficult to go ahead and do that, Tia, just because the overall size. Now, not the saying it can't happen, but there was a person, an older gentleman in his 70s down in Florida who was taken in custody because there was an Amazon or a Walmart drone over his property. He decided to start shooting at it with his gun. Now, just so everybody knows, it is illegal for people to go ahead and shoot at things that are in the sky. There are certain protections that are there, but it's just one of those things we have to be careful with. And the best thing to do if you're seeing some of these, report on it. Let people know what's going on, especially on X or any of the social media platforms you're a part of. If we can,
the worst case scenario is that you do hit your target and it falls down, but the target, you can't control what's falling down, and it hits something or something, serious. So that's
I'm
another
more talking about maybe the ones that are out further where there's really not as much as there would be in a city. And considering the government isn't doing it and these things are flying over, people are going to get scared. Some people may, right? And you get a group of people that decide to take one of these things out of the sky, and it happens to be, from a foreign nation state. I just wonder what would happen. I mean, how would they couldn't avoid it then, is my take. Right?
But they could charge that civilian that actually shot at it and or took it down to suppress the information, because they'd be well within their legal rights to do so. So you have to be careful. Like Thomas just pointed out, it is illegal to shoot at an object in the sky.
Oh, absolutely. As the group grows, I've got a fresh post from someone. I'm jumping over to Reddit at this point, and this is coming from someone called JSAP71. And I've got what he's saying, and I will bring that up along with some pictures they have from Imgur, or IMGUR, however you pronounce that one. Let's bring this up here a little bit. So I was cleaning my grill. Let's bring this up here so you can see it a little bit better. Actually, if you can, before we get too far, Liz, welcome to the show. You have your hand up, my dear lady. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I think you need to check your mic because you're muted right now. You need to unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
sorry about that. I only had, I wanted to mention that I'm wondering how come people have not gone up with their own drones, gone up and actually tried to film. I mean, it's not illegal. Maybe it's illegal to shoot them down like they're saying, but why don't people go up with their own drones and go and try to film closer and get some close-ups about that? I mean,
that's a good point. I'm not sure if consumer drones go between 50 and 100 miles an hour. So
yeah. Well, I mean, some of them are stationary. I mean, aren't these drones like just sitting there and hovering?
No,
or
some of them are hovering in some places, but a lot of times they're moving and they're in a constant motion.
So they wouldn't catch up. Do you think, one more question, do you guys think that that it's actually spreading out? I heard that it's going all the way to New York. Is it something, do you guys think that it's going to start spreading and spreading and spreading and start taking over a little larger? Or
yeah, Mike, do you want to comment on that one? Because I know there's been sightings over one of the boroughs of New York, Staten Island, right? You might be muted, Mike. Well, yeah.
It started out in South Jersey, and now it seems to have been migrating further up north, and it crossed over the New Jersey-New York state line into the outer borough of New York City in Staten Island. And the Staten Island Borough president is reacting to that by looking for more information from the government and is not getting any information. But yeah. These objects are spreading out in the tri-state area. And Thomas, didn't we cover on the previous show that also out in San Antonio, Texas, and on the West Coast by you, that these drone activities are also going on actively right now?
That was actually going on the West Coast in the San Diego, Southern California area where this was happening. So,
Right.
yeah, but we have a bunch of sightings going on in the Texas and on the West Coast in California. So, yeah, there's something that's going on. And there are actually similar sightings going on down in Argentina. This was all going on yesterday and last night and the night before.
Okay.
Would
All
you
right,
like-
thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome, Liz.
Thank
You're
you.
All
very
right,
welcome.
bye.
Mike, we hit 1,031 subs.
Perfect.
Yeah, we did it.
That's
Thank you, everybody.
amazing.
Thank you for your participation in the show. Wow, wow, wow. Lots of great things going on today. I knew if we came out today, we could go ahead and people would be interested in what's going on. I had no idea. It's so big in what's happening, Mike.
It's perfect. No, at least we're on the cutting edge of being able to break the news for the audience as this is continuing with this story. And obviously not getting any better. It's not improving day in and day out, Thomas.
No. There's something that's definitely going on. We have another video here that's from Tom's River. Is that New Jersey?
That's South Jersey, Thomas.
All right, South Jersey. Let's go ahead and play this little clip here in the background as we're talking about this. Document 3, here we go. Let's go ahead and get this one up a little bit more. Here we go. The Tom's River. Let's play this one. Again, it's that same kind of a craft. And if you hear, Mike, this is relatively close, but you know what we're missing? There's no sound from a helicopter, is there?
No, nothing.
Oh, sorry, you guys can't hear that. I think the audience can hear it, but you guys can't hear it in the back. But yeah, there's no noise of a helicopter going on here. So for those who's thinking it could be helicopters, again, if it looks like a duck, it needs to quack like a duck. And if it's not, like Corporal Abe was saying, there is no such thing as silent helicopters.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's physically impossible.
Oh, definitely. It's one of those things, definitely. Let's see what we've got here. And this is one from Ocean County last night at 10:13 p.m. We've got more drones going ahead and being seen, again, from people's backyards. Let me go ahead and actually let me pause this one. I want to go ahead and download it so I can blow it up a little bit larger for everybody. All right, let's open an external application. Let's bring this one up. All right, so here we can see this is someone in their backyard. You can see off in the distance, we've got not one, we've got two drones in the back. Let's go ahead and play this. Let's see if we hear any helicopters. Uh-oh. Did I just lose my audio? I'm not hearing this at all right now.
No, we're not hearing
Well, we
anything.
may have lost audio on this one. Or it's just a silent, hopefully it's a silent video. Either way, we've got it where you've got a couple drones moving high behind the trees, moving in tandem with each other. And again, across the skies near, is it Ocean?
Ocean County.
Ocean County, yes, absolutely. We have another person in the back who just joined, Ari Robinson. You have your hand up. You may need to unmute yourself to speak, Ari. No, you're not muted either.
No, all right, he is muted. All right, take the mute button off and you can lower your hand.
I can lower his hand. He just needs to talk. You just have to hit that little microphone button and unmute yourself.
Ari, he was just on camera a moment ago.
He'll figure it out. Once
When
he
he
does,
joined.
we'll help him get
We
there.
can
Yeah.
follow, we'll pick up on it. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Ari, yeah, you're definitely still muted at this point. Maybe you need to select a different mic on this one. So a lot of sightings going on against every evening on the East Coast. It's just something that's evolving, and I'm just going through my feed as quickly as I can to try and bring this up. Now, there is another letter that came out yesterday that we didn't get to cover yet here on the show. Let me see what I can do to go ahead and bring this one up. This is coming from a representative of the New Jersey Senate. This is coming from Douglas J. Steinhardt. Did I get that right? Steinhardt. There we go.
That's correct.
Let's go ahead and bring up this letter to the governor. Let's see what representative, and he's in a place where they're getting hit by this every single night. That Frank from
this
Sweden.
has been going on.
Come on,
Yeah.
America, use your effing guns. That's why someone was saying if this was in the South, it'd be a little bit different.
It would be like the 4th of July came early this year.
Oh, yeah, it would. All right, let's go ahead and bring up this document here. Here we go. Coming to us, it's being sent by email and regular mail. Going to Dear Governor Murphy. Yesterday, I wrote to Assembly Speaker Coughlin and the Senate President Scutari, urging an immediate joint legislative hearing to address, let's see if it's let me do it, to address the unexplained drone activity that is dominating the news and alarming our communities. Today, I write directly to you, requesting that you convene a joint legislative briefing led by your office to provide the 120 members of the state legislature with a clear update from both you and federal authorities, which is a good thing to ask for. The briefing would allow us as representatives of New Jersey's 9 million residents to ask critical questions and seek necessary answers. With all due respect, dismissing the ongoing and credible reports of drone sightings as quote-unquote nothing and quote-unquote no threat without offering detailed explanations as to how and why those conclusions were reached is not only dismissive, it's irresponsible and dangerous. I'd have to agree with him completely because, I was saying, oh, there's nothing here. It's not dangerous. Really? Prove it. New Jerseyans continue to report drones flying over military installations, critical infrastructure, and residential neighborhoods. As Commander-in-Chief of the New Jersey National Guard, you bear the responsibility of safeguarding our state and protecting our communities. Yet your office has shown no discernible action to address these reports, provide assurances to the public, or explain why such measures are unnecessary. This inaction raises questions about your office's commitment to transparency and public safety. By failing to address these issues publicly and through your administration is fostering an environment ripe for conspiracy theories, misinformation, and public panic. And that's what they're going for. Conditions that could escalate into dangerous confrontations and further erode confidence in your leadership and ours. Governor Murphy, I urge you to take decisive action by organizing a joint briefing this week. Public safety, government accountability, and national security demand nothing less. It's time to lead. I think he does a great job pointing out the major issues with this.
He does, and I could tell you why. As far as what's going on in New Jersey, and we have been reporting on this, it's very active over there with this drone activity. Governor Murphy has the ability to unilaterally, he can mobilize the National Guard in New Jersey and have them move out and try to deal with this incursions. He's not doing it. Seems like he's waiting for some word to come down from the federal government, which it isn't. So he doesn't want to take responsibility of acting within his own state and trying to confront this issue head on. Then again, he might be receiving back channel communications from the federal government telling him not to engage. But that's something that is not publicly known. So that's why we're not getting any answers one way or the other, I believe.
Yeah.
He has the authority and the ability to act if he wanted to. If he's not, there's usually a reason why he's not.
Yeah. Again, the representative saying safeguarding our state assets and protecting our communities. That is exactly, this is why I actually like that it's not just over military bases, because in military bases, Mike, the government can control what's being said from every single soldier who saw that on that base. But here, when we have citizens getting out there and seeing it, there's a lot less control going on. So we've got a lot of people who are interested to try and bring out the truth on this, and the government can't cover it up so easily anymore, can they?
No, they can't. Plus the point that the New Jersey legislation made just now in that statement, there are going to be civilian encounters with these objects if nothing is done to stop this. I guarantee it. I know that that's eventually going to be the outcome. And that could get messy all on its own if it isn't a controlled environment. So somebody at one point has to take charge.
Yeah.
Either local government or the federal government, somebody, because there's going to be some trigger-happy people out there that are going to feel threatened and are going to try to protect themselves, legally or not. That's just simply a fact. It's human nature.
Yeah, it is absolutely, Mike, as I jump around here to try and find the next clip for us to bring on. Yeah, it's the government's covering it up. Well, let's just say the federal government / military is covering it up at this point.
Right. And they're not making any public statements. They're not making the public feel like action is being taken to safeguard their safety and their privacy and their well-being, which is going to make people panic, and it's going to make people overreact.
Yeah.
As they often do in situations like this. It's only a matter of time.
It is. Now, in the media blitz we've been covering here, I've got another story of talking about large drones flying over New Jersey as the investigation continues, coming to us from Fox 29. Here we go.
Developing tonight, New Jersey making headlines this week with reports of large drones flying over parts of the state. The latest reports coming from Evesham Township in Burlington County. Residents there have their eyes to the sky with concern. Our Steve Keeley went looking for answers.
They're big. Like I saw a couple last night, which were very large.
Drone sightings like this one that started in North Jersey have now spread to South Jersey.
Last night around 8 o'clock, we got reports of residents seeing drone activity in the area.
The latest over Evesham, and those were big too, the police here saw.
Police went out, were able to observe some of them. We looked like there was reports of between 4 to 8 drones. They weren't like the typical types of drones you would think of, like a hobbyist that goes up and takes pictures of whatever. These more look like unmanned aircraft. There's some were as large as like an SUV flying around in the area.
Social media fueled fear has followed many of the drone sightings, and so has legitimate concern from government leaders. Governor Murphy posted that he convened a meeting on the drone activity with senior officials with Homeland Security, State Police, and the state's congressional delegation, and said there is no threat to the public at this time.
We monitored the area just to see what they were doing, just to make sure there was no threat, seeing if they were looking at critical infrastructure, and then we monitored them until they continued through town, which they were out of here about 11:15, and then they headed towards Cherry Hill and ultimately towards Philadelphia.
Did it concern you this could be, nefarious activity?
Yeah, I mean, especially with the advanced technology that.
This is actually a really good shot of one of those drones going on. I want to go ahead and just zoom that up for us all to go ahead and see. It's different from the other one we had seen. Again, we're seeing a lot of different morphologies of these craft that look similar depending on the angle, but it's clearly something that's new to our skies, at least what everyone has been able to see in the past.
They seem to have, they're not like most drones, they're within sight. These are obviously being controlled somewhere else, and there's obviously a purpose they're up flying.
Could you find out who was controlling them and where they were?
We're working on that. So we're working with the state police through the Regional Operations Center and
just really quick to go ahead back on his last statement saying that there's someone remotely controlling those. That's something we don't know at this point. It's a situation to where we think they are, but these craft could also be under autonomous control, meaning they're being flown by onboard AI and systems, not necessarily just from someone remotely controlling these craft. Let's continue on, because if they were, you've got people are saying 40, 50 of these up in an evening. That's a lot. Let's continue this, and I'll get to Nick as soon as this video clip's done.
Somewhere else, and there's obviously a purpose they're up flying.
Could you find out who was controlling them and where they were?
We're working on that. So we're working with the state police through the Regional Operations Center and ultimately with the federal authorities, FAA, FBI.
I checked like a flight tracker app, and there's no planes in the area. You see these things go by, and they're big.
If something that, massive came down into a populated area, it would be problematic. But it didn't. It was very windy last night. The size of these and the technology with them, they didn't seem to be affected by the wind. They were varying altitudes. They said sometimes as low as 100 feet, other times as high as 2,000 feet.
In Evesham Township, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News.
There we go. Interesting to see that. We got another story coming up quickly from NBC 10 on the same story. But before we get there, I've got Nick. You have your hand up, my friend.
Do you believe that there was a crash retrieval yesterday, Thomas? Do you believe so?
What was that again? I'm sorry?
Do you believe that there was a crash retrieval yesterday? Do you believe so?
I don't know, Nick. Mike, your thoughts? Not sure if you picked up what Nick was saying there. He was a little echoey.
No, what was Nick's question?
Maybe you can hear it better than me.
No, I didn't. Go ahead, Nick. Say it again.
Was there a craft retrieval yesterday, you think?
Was there a crash retrieval yesterday? All things point to it based on the sightings that we were reporting on earlier today, where the helicopters that deal with large payloads were coming in and landing and going back up and landing again. So clearly something was going on. They may have recovered something, Nick. But we don't have the Marines coming out and telling us what actually took place. Correct, Mike?
Yeah, correct. It appears that there was some sort of a crash retrieval that occurred in New Jersey last night.
Yeah.
But we have no official confirmation coming from the government or the military on that. But we do have eyewitness reports from residents in the area that claim there was a large operation and then it quickly dispersed and left the area.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't doubt it's going to continue on tonight and keep on continuing until something is actually done in a offensive manner or defensive manner. Well, should be, let's say in an offensive manner to bring these things down. We shouldn't have to wait until these things are over the city, are over our water reserves, that they're over our critical infrastructure, that they're over our military bases. Do something and bring them down. Now, coming in is a reason they may not be bringing them down. Alice W. brings up a good point that reiterates something that Alan brought up yesterday. Alan's a regular over on the Richard Dolan show, and she says, earlier this year, I heard that our government would stage an invasion from something like Greer or Dolan. They said they would do it in the area of the War of the Worlds as homage to the broadcast. It's too early to tell if this is a blue-on-blue exercise, if this is a false flag event. My decision on that is really up in the air, Mike, because there's nothing to really prove that it's our government purporting this on its own people.
No, I don't believe that our government is doing an operation like this at this time right now. Doesn't really make a lot of sense why they would be motivated to do something like this. Plus, there's an inherent risk if they're having these types of craft over residential areas. That would be foolhardy and could result in really serious consequences. I don't think that they would be motivated to do something like that. Plus, like we reported on, these activities are blocking emergency medical transport. The government wouldn't be engaged in an activity like that against their own citizens. Obviously.
Yeah. Absolutely. Another report coming in from a citizens who's talking about this in NJ Drones over on Reddit. He's planning to fly my DJI next to one of these tonight. Hello, I know I'm not the only one who thought about it, but actually committing a plan into investigating what these UAPs are doing in our night skies. The plan, hoping the owner of this Reddit can make live comments during the night. So those and I can try to fly next to them and get good video and pictures. I was insisting to finding people throughout New Jersey, as myself is next to Camden, so we can easily text each other and about the sightings and which direction it's heading to. Now, what are the concerns coming out of this? Number one, breaking the law. Flying over 400 feet in height. The UAP are fast, and my DJI can travel 11 to 15 miles per hour, a lot slower than the drones. Also, going over 400 feet apparently is against the law in the area, so these drones are clearly breaking the law. He will receive more severe punishment and get prosecuted if these drones are military related, and he's interfering with an operation. While it could be Amazon drones delivering or military operations, some of the higher-ups are purposely possibly doing this to add drone laws. Not quite sure, Mike, but it's all an evolving situation, and people out there are having this similar ideas. And how, as a citizen, can I be a part of this, and how can I help report on this and get good footage?
That goes back to my earlier point that I know the public is going to be involved at one point, like it or not. And that could have dire consequences in many different ways. They're not going to idly sit on their hands, no matter how much the government would like them to do that. They're going to get involved, especially if this continues the way that it has been.
Yeah.
So, this is a development situation.
Sorry about this. Hold on. I've got a video popping up.
Might be hovering.
Audio. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Started playing video and I didn't want it to play video. I've got another video that I just found, Mike, coming to us from YouTube. Someone driving around last night to go ahead and actually see these drones. Let's see if I can get this to pop over on a YouTube window.
Gonna record it anyway.
Let me go ahead and bring this one up. I think this is from last night. Let me go ahead and bring up this video. I could be wrong, just to cover myself. But this is a 4-minute video. They were going ahead, and I have to be careful, and this is coming from someone else's YouTube channel. But as they're driving along, you can see the drones off in the distance, and clearly, you know, this is something that's going over throughout the area. And like we were saying, Mike, many people out there are able to go ahead and record these and bring them up and share the video footage of it. Again, they all coincide with each other. There's nothing going on here that aligns to this being unique, but it just adds more weight to the overall situation that we're reporting on. Now, I do have another story coming from NBC News 10. I believe they're out of Philadelphia reporting on this. Let's go ahead and see what they have to say on this from their perspective and their reporting. Give me a second. Here we go. Let's play this.
NBC 10's Lauren Make joins us now to explain what's going on. Lauren.
Yes, these calls started coming into Evesham police around 8 o'clock last night, and they lasted for several hours. Police are still trying to figure out where these drones are coming from, who's responsible for them, and if they're connected to the reports a little bit farther north.
These things have lights on them. You basically see the lights.
Evesham police shared this video with us. It's part of their investigation into reports of nighttime drone activity.
We had varying reports of anywhere between 4 to 8 drones that were flying through the area. They weren't like the normal, drone that somebody would purchase and use in their home. They were large. Some were described as large as like an SUV, had blinking lights on them.
That's not a plane. The reports in South Jersey coming as authorities have been investigating drones in the sky over North Jersey.
They kind of sound like a helicopter, depending on how big they are is how loud they are. There's red and green lights on either side of them.
The drones have been spotted near Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, where the president-elect sometimes stays. Governor Phil Murphy posted on X that he convened a briefing with the Homeland Security Secretary, state police, and other officials about the drones in North and Central Jersey, that they're monitoring the situation and there's no threat to the public. In South Jersey, the Evesham chief says multiple municipalities around him have also gotten reports, and he's working with state police and federal authorities about what residents are seeing.
They were operating throughout the township last night and then moved into Cherry Hill, ultimately heading towards Philadelphia.
The chief said they couldn't determine whether the drones were hovering over any critical infrastructure, but they're working to find out more about the things showing up in the Jersey sky.
At this time, we're still investigating. We have no information of who the drones belong to, what their purpose was.
And the chief again said these are not the small hobby drones that some people have at home. He doesn't think those would even be able to withstand the wind that we've had recently. Now, with the drones showing up at night, it can be hard to capture images of them, but police are interested in getting some clear pictures of them or any information about them. I'm Lauren Make, NBC 10 News.
There we go. Another interesting story, Mike. Yes, there's a lot of interest in the media. I think this is the most we've actually seen of the media covering drones or UAP type incursions going on in years.
Oh my God, no, they are usually silent on any type of stories like this. And now it seems because of the public's involvement and how active these incursions have been, they are finally doing their jobs and covering these stories and trying to bring more information out to the public like we have this entire time. So it's about time, Thomas.
Oh, yes, absolutely, my friend, absolutely. If I could just do a quick reminder to our audience that those who haven't taken this opportunity to go ahead and subscribe to Disclosure tonight, please give us a chance. Please give us an opportunity to go ahead and be your source for UFO disclosure news. We do this on a regular basis. Today is a special show because, well, there's a lot of stuff going on. If stuff is happening like this, we will be on. More importantly, if you're liking this show, do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We appreciate your love and everything. Remember, about 60% of our audience right now is not subscribed to the show. We'd love to have you here as a regular. It's as easy as going ahead and hitting that subscribe button. And Mike, what happens if people don't like the show? We'll give them double
We'll give you a double your money back guarantee if you're not happy with your subscription. So don't worry, folks. There's nothing to lose here. It's definitely worth a try.
Yeah. Absolutely. As I'm going through my footage and everything that's going on, you know, we've covered a lot of stuff that's been in the media, and I think we're getting close to being up to date on what's been happening. Well, we have spy planes with escorts happening over Illinois, but this is probably nothing to do with this right now, just more people keeping their eyes on what's going on now. What else do we have here? I'm just trying to go through. Let me find another video clip we haven't played yet. All right, let's try this one. Have I gotten that one yet? That's the one I just played. Wonderful. Shut that one down. Let's bring up this one. Try this one. Nope, already played that one. Mike, there's a lot of stories, but I think I've gone through a lot of this stuff today. We've got that one. Close that one down. Let's go to the next one. I think we've got the one about the FBI. Let me go to my folder from last night, Reveal and Finder, from clips that we have from yesterday to get into here. New Jersey.
Hey, Thomas, real
Yes, sir.
quick, you had posted on Twitter the other day and about the NDAA being gutted. I know that's a little bit of a side topic, but in its final revision, they gutted a few things.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected. The whole UAP Disclosure Act and none of that stuff ever made it through, unfortunately. It's just one of those situations where we wish it was different. But, you know, in their current administration, it's not a disclosure-friendly administration. More importantly, Congress seems to be limited in what their ability to bring out. I know there's been a lot of push for congressmen to come together and try and get disclosure to come forward. I don't think we're going to get anything anywhere from Congress because they haven't been able to do anything in the last couple of years, no matter what people have said. I think the only way we're going to get real disclosure is a executive administration that supports it and is willing to go the mile to bring out the truth.
100%. I know we've covered this a bunch, but just for the new audience, I wanted to bring that up, that the final revision of the UAPDA and the NDAA got a little bit gutted, which
the entire UAPDA was gutted. None of it made it in. Zero of it.
Yep. And I think you and Mike called that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, it's got to come from the executive. Exactly right.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and play this next clip I've got going here, I think, coming to us from Fox News, talking about witnesses and what they've seen of these drones. Let me go ahead and bring this video clip up next. Here we go.
You know, it almost has a look of a drone invasion going on in New Jersey, but when it involves the New Jersey home of the President-elect of the United States, it does catch more attention than normal, even though this has been running rampant for weeks now throughout much of the Garden State. Nate Foy has more from Morristown, New Jersey. Hey, Nate.
Hey, Neil. So just within the past couple hours, local authorities put out an additional statement reiterating that there is no threat to public safety because of these drones. But we're speaking with witnesses who are concerned because, as you mentioned, they're flying near sensitive areas. But also, just in general, these drones, we're told, are bigger than drones you would typically see people flying for fun. In fact, one witness said they look like commercial military drones. Here's another witness describing what they look like.
This one is extremely low. It's loud.
It's really cute.
And it's huge.
It's so big. It looks so much closer in person.
Yeah, my camera doesn't do it. It looks like a spaceship.
So now the FBI is investigating with state and local authorities saying, quote, witnesses have spotted the cluster of what look to be drones and a possible fixed-wing aircraft. A witness tells Fox that he and his neighbors are confused and worried about where these drones are coming from. He said he lives about a 10-minute drive from President-elect Donald Trump's Bedminster Golf Club.
They seem to be going in circles, and on my property, I think it's the flight path to Trump Bedminster from the airport. So they seem to be circling around the property.
Neil, take a look at this. You see the drones have been spotted not just near Trump National Golf Club, but also the Picatinny Arsenal military base. And the FAA is banning flights over both locations as the investigation continues. So right now, the FBI and local authorities are asking people to send in videos and tips as they see additional drones, which we're expecting here shortly. We're told by local authorities that the busiest time of night is between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. So the drones should be coming out here in about half an hour. We'll send it back to you, Neil.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, can you take the helm for a minute, my friend? I need to step out.
Yeah, I got it. That's fine. Do we have any other clips that we can cover? while you're out.
Not yet. I'll be back.
That's okay. Nick, go ahead. Thanks for patiently waiting.
Yeah, so did you see that new, there were more UAP related things in the NDAA? Did you see that, Mike?
I saw that they tried to include some whistleblower protections in the NDA that are coming out, but there was a standalone Whistleblower Protection Act that Representative Tim Burchett had tried to pass, and that was shut down. I think they took some of those provisions from his act to try to include it in a watered-down version of the current NDAA, but there's really nothing significant there that I think is going to really have a direct impact on future whistleblowers coming forward and being able to testify without having any repercussions moving forward at this point, Nick. That's the reality of it at the time. So I don't think we're going to be looking forward to hearing about any future firsthand whistleblowers coming forward at the time. But we also covered yesterday on the show, Nick, that Jeremy Corbell, before the UAP hearing on November 13th, was stating that this hearing is going to be moving the needle on disclosure, and it's going to surpass the previous UAP hearing we had when David Grush had testified. But when we got the actual hearing this November 13th, really nothing that we haven't heard before had come forward. And then everyone was asking Jeremy Corbell, why was he making those claims? And what he finally came out and said in a very limited way was that he and George Knapp were bringing actual witnesses to testify at the hearing that had firsthand knowledge of legacy government UAP programs, and they were going to testify on that. And he worked with committees in Congress to have this happen, and at the very last minute, they decided not to allow those witnesses to testify.
Yeah.
Right, Thomas?
Right. But to go ahead and pull this conversation back to drones that we're focusing on now, we're not. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in UFO disclosure, but I want to keep our news coverage focused and centered because it seems that's what the audience wants to hear about is what's been going on, like you said, Mike, with the drones, and more drones.
Absolutely. I just was trying to answer Nick's question.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I know there's a lot of questions on that. Something we can probably cover on tomorrow's show along with the drone situation that's going on. Remember, folks, we are on Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, usually, or 10 p.m. London time for all of our friends across the pond. And if things are going on like they have been today, we'll be around a little bit more often. So let's get to our next story. Again, more talking about the FBI trying to go ahead and investigating this, potentially working to, keep things quiet. Now, before we get to that, we did have Andrew bring up something. Don't you believe the government would do this against its own citizens? Have you not learned anything about the CO or any other probable false flags? Well, yeah, I would have to say this one. It wouldn't surprise me. And remember, Mike, I believe I'm right on this one, that we are at the lowest lows of the general public trusting the government or the military for that matter.
Well, for good reason, obviously, Thomas. They have every reason not to trust the government at this point. So I would agree.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and play this next clip. Here we go, everybody.
Let's bring in Tom Winter. What's up with the mysterious drones, Tom?
Right, Allie. Well, not to go all Scully and Mulder on us here.
Do it.
Law enforcement is concerned about this. They have put out a statement, the local sheriff's office and local prosecutor's office in Morris County. So Morris County, New Jersey, pretty much the center of where this activity has been occurring, along with Somerset County. So they're about an hour-ish west of here. Don't throw things at your screen. I know that it could be double that amount of time given traffic, but just to give folks a sense of where we are and referring to New York City. As far as the size of them, multiple eyewitnesses have reported, and obviously we've seen the video here, you've just pointed it out, the size of these, it's not quite clear to law enforcement that they are car-sized at this point, but they do not appear to be kind of the homemade type that would fit on a desk. Whether or not they're the kind that would fit in a garage, well, that's going to be a bigger question. They really want the evidence here, Hallie. They want to be able to get their hands on this or know where they are flying from in an effort to try to figure out, okay, who's doing this, what are they about, and what are they specifically looking at. But officials in New Jersey stress, look, there's no indication at this point that they're a threat to the public. We'd certainly like to know what's going on, and they are encouraging people to call these in.
Why would the FBI be getting involved in this here?
A great question. So the airspace is the FBI's domain. So when the FAA sees something that is a potential violation of federal law as it pertains to the skies, that's a time where the FBI would get involved. And certainly if we're talking about multiple counties and we're talking about something that could have come from outside of New Jersey, perhaps from Pennsylvania, perhaps from New York State or the water, they want to have the ability to kind of expand this investigation. And I spoke to them just before speaking with you tonight, and they are looking for people to give them some tips and to kind of coordinate the response to this. Also figure out what are they actually looking at. There are a couple of military sites in the area, but it's not clear yet that that's necessarily the focus of what these drones are about. But they're definitely keeping an eye on the situation. You know, there have been a number of reports of these unidentified aerial phenomena, Hallie, across the country and on the West Coast. So, the government is concerned about this.
We really don't have any clues? Because right now it feels like this is so bizarre. The TLDR is like large drones fly over towns all night in the middle of the night and nobody knows where they're from. Like that's really, we really don't have any little like signals. Maybe it's so-and-so or whatever company or something.
I am not holding anything back from you. Nobody has whispered anything from me. I am promising you. And by the way, the Morris County Airport that's closest to all this, close to Bedminster, New Jersey, where Donald Trump's golf course is, where he is often, Hallie, from experience covering the Trump administration, that they are certainly aware of potential aerial threats. This is an important airport. It's close to New York City. So it's not as if they're watching these drones kind of fly off into the night and just saying, oh, well, maybe we'll call somebody someday. Like this area is familiar with it. The New
Oh, we lost the end of that one. They caught that one a little bit earlier, but it's an interesting situation. Now, talking about what's going off the coast of New York last night during the mysterious drone coastal counties in New Jersey and New York, a USAF Black Hawk and a Jolly Green were searching for something about 400 feet from the surface off near the coast of Long Island. Mike, your thoughts on this? It sounds like clearly they've got an idea that things are potentially coming from the ocean.
No, that's true. But I also wanted to tell you that I reached out to Roning.
Yeah.
And he's been covering this as well. And he just let me know that he received a message from the authorities that were alarming a drone crash in the area in South Jersey, and that there were going to be movements of the military at that time. So we have confirmation. There was a drone crash in that area from last night, coming from Roning, who's also been covering this with us, who's also a good friend of ours.
Yeah, of course. And I've been covering a lot of his tweets. He deserves credit for that. Yeah, and it's just a matter of bringing that information and sharing with our viewers. And as soon as we can find out more information on Mike, we're definitely going to go ahead and cover that. Now, we did get another super chat again from LSW saying, as for power to keep these things up so long, who knows? They may use advanced energy production. Clearly, I have to say, Mike, on whatever's going on, they definitely have a breakthrough technology that our government has no defense of, at least apparently, because this has been going on for weeks.
This has been going on for a lot longer than that. Again, let me remind you, Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, this was going on for 2 weeks with these drones a couple months ago, back in February, I believe. And they eventually had to evacuate the F-35s out of Langley Air Force Base as a result of these drones activities. So, yeah, this is ongoing, and the government seems to be allowing them to operate with complete immunity.
Yeah.
It's impunity that they're moving around military bases, and our government is
and here's the
unable
thing:
or unwilling to do anything.
they say the drones aren't affecting our operations. If it's not affecting their operations, why are they having to move their F-35s from Langley to Oceana to keep them operating? Right? So there is an impact. It's obvious, but it's just not being discussed in a way that it should be discussed. Corporal Abe, you have your hand up, my friend. Now, Corporal Abe, just to refresh our audience who may not be familiar with you, you were in two different parts of the military, correct?
Yeah, that's 100%. I was in the Navy for 6 years, stationed out of Norfolk, Virginia, Naval Station Norfolk, and then I switched to the 28th Infantry Division, Pennsylvania, actually, Army National Guard.
Right.
I just wanted to say real quick before my battery dies, they also interrupted that medevac flight out of New Jersey.
Right.
And that's life-threatening. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for that info, my friend. And absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my phone on the charger. So stick
there
around.
you go.
Great show, Thomas. Great show.
Thank you. And just to go ahead and bring up
Congratulations,
another.
guys.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being a part of it, my friend. And just to go ahead and bring up another video that came out last night, we've got one here where one of these craft was seen initially with his lights on, which turned off, and then this was just seen hovering next to a building. You can see kind of a dark X on that one there that was going on to go ahead, and this is at 2 o'clock in the morning. People are seeing this stuff. They don't know what it is, but this is a different kind of behavior, Mike, to where they're not just being seen, flying around. This one is literally loitering, like it's almost hiding.
Yeah, like it's trying not to be seen by everybody. Amazingly.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend.
Very
absolutely.
odd behavior.
Oh yeah, it is, to say the absolutely. So it's just one of those things we have to take a look at. We have to cover it when we've got the info. But I think we've covered everything on this, haven't we?
We've covered everything that's currently going on from last night till today, Thomas.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll see what tomorrow brings, and we'll cover that as well on the next show.
We'll be back. We'll be covering this stuff live for our audience out there, bringing the information together as quickly as we can to go ahead and share with everybody. Would you look at this, Mike? Just looking at the numbers of where we're at now. I hate to look at it, but we went from 9,500 subs yesterday to 10,166. A lot of love for Disclosure tonight. I am very humbled and thankful for everyone for joining the show, for being a part of it in the back, for our audience, for everything that you said, more importantly, for all the new subscribers we had out there. But first of all, I'm a thankful person. I want to go ahead and thank the people who have given us super chats tonight. Let me go ahead and find this. I want to thank the people who are in the chat, because there's a bunch of new people in the chat. Now, first off, I want to thank everybody who's given us a super chat to Disclosure tonight. Why? Because we're a fan-funded program, and every dollar that comes in Disclosure tonight goes back into our production fund. I am humbled and thankful for everyone's love and support of everything we do here. More importantly, I want to thank the people in reverse order who've given us super chats tonight, including Eli McInnes. Thank you very much, sir. Alice W., Shermanator Osborne, Andrew Hessing, Alice W. again, Fat Frank G-Rant, Overlander BC once, Overlander BC twice, G-Rant, Peggy and the South Florida Friends, Necessary Dialogue, Phantomos Fanto, FaZe Will, a regular supporter of Disclosure tonight, Overlander BC, Brian Pemble, Knight's Glory, Video Illusions, and Baba 200. Wow. Thank you very much for all the ongoing support of everything we do here at Disclosure tonight. More importantly now, I want to go ahead and thank the people who have been in the chat. What did I do with that chat window? I know it's got to be here somewhere. Let me find it right now. Give me a second. I want to thank all the people who have been part of the chat today. Where is it at? YouTube Studio, YouTube pop out. There it is. All right. On that note, I want to thank the people who are still in the chat right now, because the chat is at, remember, chat, you can chat if you subscribe. It's one of the benefits you get of being a regular subscriber here at Disclosure tonight. Also, don't forget, if you subscribe to Disclosure tonight, do us a favor, folks. Go ahead and check your bell to make sure you're set up for all notifications. I won't spam you, but you will know about it, because I usually put out a broadcast about 2 hours, or I'll post the show 2 hours before we go live, so you'll make sure to get all notifications for when we go live. Now, to thank the people in the chat, I want to thank Abby Araxa, Andreen, Alice W., Amber Beginnings, Angel Flight 76, Anonymous Rex, Anode ACC, Anthony, Anton, Austin, BW Broom, Bolt, Brian Pemble, Brains, CC777, Casey Mead, Christian Kern, a lot of new people, holy cow, Christopher Coletta, and Metachris. Who else is out there? Clear Glass Studios. We got Cosmo Fang, Country Carpenter, Craig. Daniel's been out there. Eli McGinnis, Firefly, Frank Einstein, G-Rant, Gene Splice, Griff, Highlander, Holly Potter, If just popped in, Heiser Soze. Let's take a look. If's around, J. Bede, Jay Davis, all these new people in the chat. Thank you for coming out and being a part of this broadcast and participating in our chat. John's been around, John Ranev, Johnny Forrest, Johnny Half, Kay Doherty is here, along with Kent, Sargent, King Bull, Koala Bear, Chris Lees, Lisa H, Lord White, Lori G, Lynn 60. Wow. Thanks for all coming out. 20% of our audience is actually women, and I can see it in the chat. Thank you for being a part of this, my dear ladies. Mac Bats, Mad Dogs TV, Marcus Man the Mandels, Matthew Keenwan. Let's go on. Moon Life, Mr. Catfish 2100, Kathy Brote and her killer blue and her laser blue and her laser blue eyes. Niambi, Noah Hyde 72, Orange 1973, Patrick Ryan, Paul Damon, Philip Shepard, Preston Evans, Rainbow, also known as James been here, Robert Coford, Roger, Rogue Planet 13, Roland Gibbs, Rough Reddy, Sam's been out here, Sebastian Rolder, thank you for being here. Hopefully I didn't say your name too bad. Shelby Z, Shelley Montgomery, Shermanator Osborne, our resident ancientologist, Snarf McGrew, Stephen A. We've also have Stephen Forbes, Stephen Stafford, Strange and Scary New England. Have you seen anything strange and scary? It would be interesting to know. Sooty Aside, the Chromosome Cowboy, the G5 Studio, the Mac Geek, Trent Allgood, Turd Ferguson, Two Head 666, Undercover ETUK, Whiskey Shred, Wicked's been here, Wingman 777, Yankee 58, and Dead Fish Cheese Spread. How about that? Also, I want to go ahead and thank, shifting gears, our friends in the back. I want to thank Brian Pemble. Thanks for coming out tonight, Brian.
Hey, absolutely, Thomas. Congratulations. Great show. And I just want to remind everybody that we do stay on after the show. So if anybody has something to say that they did not want to say live,
follow
jump in
that
the
link
back
on the top of the chat. Show them where it is, Brian. It's right up there.
Right
there
there?
You go. That's close enough. Thank you, Brian,
Yep,
for that
jump in.
reminder. Also, I want to thank Corporal Abe for coming out if your phone is still there. I know you said your phone was dying, but thank you for coming out.
Happy holidays, everybody. Another amazing, great show. History-making show. Awesome show. Happy to be a part. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Disclosure Night crew. Happy holidays, everybody. I love you.
Thank you very much, Corporal Abe. Also want to thank Laura Campbell for coming out. We missed you. Not almost too much.
Hi guys, I was doing Christmas decoration, and I got my one of my trees is galactic.
Oh, very nice.
Meteorites and things like pieces from Mars and the moon.
Oh, nice. Is there a black hole in the center?
No, but I got my little aliens too.
Oh, there you go. Wonderful. Thanks for coming out and sharing it with us, Laura. Absolutely
Sure.
wonderful. Also want to thank Michael Sukloff for coming out. Thanks for coming out today, Michael.
Anytime, Thomas, anytime.
Absolutely. Ms. Cussout, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having your surprise Sunday show.
Oh, yeah. We had to do it.
It shows that people want to know more,
Oh,
and they're coming to you. And you go throughout these different news clips and bring it all together, and it's great.
Thank you, Ms. Cussout. I appreciate they coming to us. That's what I love about it. It's a
Yes.
community. We got a beautiful community in the chat, in the back. That's what it's about. It's about friends.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Great.
Also,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out today, Nick. Appreciate you being here. Turning the world upside down and shaking it like a snow globe. It looks like none of your business popped in. I didn't even know that Susan Ford was here. Thanks for coming in today, Susan.
Yeah, I snuck in the back door when no one was
Yeah.
looking. We've got them apparently starting to appear here now.
Oh, interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I wonder if it's going on. We'll be back to cover it, Nanya. Thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to thank Tia Loreno. Thanks for being here, my dear lady.
Thank you, Thomas. Welcome to the family, all the new ones.
Oh,
This is the best show in town.
Absolutely. And turn that off. And is Mike Disclosure. Let's find that. Thanks for coming out tonight, Mike. I appreciate you coming out today and spending our time.
Oh, my pleasure. We had to at least do this special show for our audience so that we could bring the truth out and they can have an idea of what is going on out there with this. My pleasure.
Absolutely, Mike. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone. But
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. It's a city that welcomes everybody. Good night, everybody. Love you. Y'all come back now. Here. See you on Monday. Good night. Bye-bye.